Chapter 2993. Fourth chapter. Asking for monthly votes. Today is the fourth chapter again. Lin Yi's life became simple once again. Although the news of Lin Yi's breakthrough to the early stage of heaven class had spread, and Lin Yi's enemies had also gone into hiding, but Lin Yi was worried about Chun Shi, so he didn't leave the villa. In fact, Lin Yi's current priority was to go back to the West Star Village, then open the third stone door and get the benefits behind it. But without receiving any news about Chen Shi, Lin Yi's heart was not at ease. So in the past few days, Lin Yi still practiced martial arts in the villa every day, condensed the forging fire, and waited for Han Jingjing to come out of seclusion. He wanted to increase her strength to the late stage of Earth class, and then see if she could refine a third-level pill. The only thing that made Lin Yi happy was that he had made great progress in condensing the forging fire. Maybe Lin Yi's strength had improved, or maybe Lin Yi was diligent in practicing. In short, Lin Yi could now increase and decrease the attributes of the forging fire at will, but he still couldn't change the temperature and intensity of the fire. These two aspects still needed further practice. But no matter what, Lin Yi had improved a lot compared to before, and this change made Lin Yi very happy. At noon, Lin Yi finished his practice and was ready to increase the strength of his spirit beasts. But before Lin Yi reached the backyard, the phone rang. Lin Yi picked it up and saw that it was Gu Xian. He quickly pressed the answer button. Gu Xian? How is it? Is there any news? Boss, there's news. I was just about to tell you about it. Gu Xian had just received the news and quickly dialed Lin Yi's number. Zhao Guangyin and Chun Shi went to the Heavenly Elixir sect, and at present, Chun Shi was given to the young master of the Heavenly Elixir sect as a furnace by Zhao Guangyin. And because of his contributions, Zhao Guangyin became the disciple of the 8th elder of the Heavenly Elixir sect, Kong Ming Ming. Oh, Chun Shi was sacrificed as a cultivation vessel? Lin Yi's heart suddenly jumped. Although Lin Yi didn't know how to use the furnace, it was definitely not good for Chun Shi. He quickly asked, is she in danger? For the time being, there is no danger, because according to the information, Chun Shi has not systematically practiced the furnace mantra before. So the Heavenly Elixir sect has decided to let her practice the furnace mantra again in 2 years. So for now, it seems that no one is in danger. Gu Xian said, however, it's hard to say after 2 years. According to the news, the maid before the Heavenly Silkworm transformation was his furnace. Her name was Heavenly Butterfly, and she has been cultivated to death. One is already dead? Lin Yi immediately frowned, but he was a little puzzled. The Heavenly Silkworm transformation he saw the other day didn't seem to be someone who practiced crooked ways. Could it be that the rumors were true, that the young master of the Heavenly Elixir sect was a lecherous pervert? Yes, even the Heavenly Elixir sect admitted that one died, but they said it was an accident. But the rumors say that Heavenly Silkworm transformation used her as a furnace and sucked too much pure qi, and she died. Gu Xian said, Boss, you know that it's hard to say, but the rumors aren't unfounded. What Gu Xian didn't know was that the news of Heavenly Butterfly being used as a furnace was spread by the Heavenly Silkworm transformation herself. One, it was to cover up her female identity, and the other, it was to cover up the fact that she was hiding Heavenly Butterfly. But at least we still have 2 years. Gu Xian, help me keep an eye on the Heavenly Elixir sect and Chun Shi. If there are any changes, let me know immediately. Lin Yi said after some thought. At least Chen Shi was fine for now, and Lin Yi breathed a sigh of relief. Boss Zhu and Second Zhu had been sent back by Lin Yi to protect Ziyu. Lin Yi had enough underlings around him, and the two of them wouldn't be of much use here. Plus, the news of Lin Yi becoming a sky-class early phase had spread. In the hidden plane, there was no one who could fight him anymore. The ancient plane, on the other hand, had their own rules. They wouldn't casually enter the common world. After hanging up, Lin Yi called Ziyu and told her not to worry, that Chun Shi was fine for now. He also told Boss Zhu to tell Chun Shi's mother about the situation, but he could only tell her the truth. Chun Shi had been sold by Zhao Guangyin, and although she wasn't in danger right now, it was enough for her to give up on Zhao Guangyin. She had to be more careful, just in case she fell for it again. Hidden House Tang, Elder Tang Taizhong, had also heard about Lin Yi breaking through to Sky Class and annihilating the Hidden House Zhao. He was so scared that he couldn't sit still. Before, Tang Taijung never would have thought that a solo practitioner like Lin Yi could grow to this extent. It was too unbelievable. Even at the Hidden House Summit, Tang Taijung couldn't tell that Lin Yi was able to annihilate the Hidden House Zhao. At that time, he was naive enough to think that Lin Yi had caused the conflict between the Hidden House Yu and House Zhao to escape. He was still afraid of the Hidden House Yu and House Zhao. Lin Yi's excellence was only that of a junior. Compared to elders like them, it was like heaven and earth. But now, his illusion was shattered by Lin Yi's actions. From what he could see, Lin Yi, a junior solo practitioner that he didn't even put in his eyes, suddenly became a crocodile that could swallow the Hidden House Tang at any time. Tang Taijung was truly afraid. Tang Boss, Tang Yu, and Yu Xiaoxin were all called to the Hidden House Tang's meeting room. Tang Taijung was like an ant on a hot pan, pacing around on the floor. What do we do? What should we do? Back then, we, the Hidden House Tang, offended Lin Yi and his father-in-law's family. What should we do now? Hidden House Zhao has been annihilated by Lin Yi. Next, it should be our Hidden House Tang's turn, right? Back then, when Tang Yun was accepted as Xuegu's disciple, Tang Taijung wasn't too worried. He only regretted kicking Tang Yun out of the house. After all, an ancient sect wouldn't make a move on a hidden house just because of a small grudge. It was against the rules. However, Lin Yi was a solo practitioner. He didn't care about the rules and didn't play by the rules. He destroyed whoever he wanted. This was what worried Elder Tang the most. Chapter 2994. Everyone put in more effort so that the fishmen would have the motivation to continue exploding. They couldn't lose on the first day of the month. The monthly votes exceeded 100. They would continue exploding tomorrow. Chapter 2995. Our ranking has advanced by 1 place, but we are still 4 places away from the top 10 cities. Dear friends, do your best. Monthly votes. However, everyone in the Tang family cared about their face. Although they knew that they were the ones who caused the situation, they couldn't bring themselves to go to the Snow Valley to recognize Tang Yun. Especially when Xiaoming was still in the Snow Valley, Boss Tang didn't dare to do this behind Yu Xiaoxin's back. If Yu Xiaoxin found out, she would definitely explode in anger and make a big fuss. But now, it was a moment of life and death for the hidden Tang family. Face and whatnot could be abandoned. Tang Taijung's tone had already softened. Why would eldest brother Tang still care about face? How about I make a trip to the Snow Valley and bring Xiaoming back? Tang Lauda hesitated for a moment before he looked at Tang Taijung and asked. Actually, bringing Xiaoming back was equivalent to acknowledging Tang Yun. He would also become Lin Yi's father-in-law. Then, Lin Yi couldn't not acknowledge his own family, right? How dare you? Before Tang Taijung could say anything, Yu Xiaoxin exploded and loudly denied. Are you still thinking about that bitch in your heart? Pa. Tang Taijung frowned. He was very dissatisfied with his daughter-in-law. But before he could reprimand her, Big Brother Tang couldn't help but slap her in the face. Why are you interrupting when men are talking? You slut. If it wasn't for you rejecting Xiaoming, would our family be in this state now? Xiaoming's daughter was Tang Yun. She is Senior Lin's girlfriend. With Senior Lin's support, our hidden Tang family might even become the ancient Tang family. You hit me? Yu Xiaoxin didn't listen to the latter part of Big Bro Tang's words. She directly became anxious as she pointed at Big Bro Tang and cursed. I want to go back to my mother's house and tell my father that you hit me. All right, Yu Xiaoxin, stop fooling around. Tang Taijung finally couldn't take it anymore and scolded. Hiding in the Yu family is also difficult to protect. Do you think your father is some great hero? In front of Senior Lin Yi, it was just a fart. Senior Lin wanted him to destroy the hidden Zhao family, so he had to destroy it. Otherwise, he would have to die. However, he is lucky to have a chance to be Senior Lin's dog to resolve his grudges. Our hidden Zhao family is a step behind. After being scolded by Tang Taijung, Yu Xiaoxin suddenly came to her senses. Yes, Lin Yi was no longer the Lin Yi of the past. She had always regarded the hidden Yu family as a big backer, but in front of Lin Yi, didn't they order them around like dogs? Thinking of this, Yu Xiaoxin shut her mouth and did not dare to say anything more. Grandpa, I support Father's suggestion. I'll accompany him to the Snow Valley to reunite with him. Even if I can't bring Ani Xiaoming back, our relationship will at least be better. At least my relationship with Ani Xiaoming is still not bad. Tang Yu said, as for Lin Yi, I have a good relationship with him. I don't know if he can do me a favor. Of course, if Lil Sis Tang Yun helps, then there won't be a problem. That's good too. Tang Taizhong nodded in agreement and patted Tang Yu's shoulder. Yu, now it seems that you have the most foresight in our hidden Tang family. Not only did you have a good relationship with your Ani Xiaoming, you also had a good relationship with Senior Lin Yi. This way, not only can our Tang family resolve our grudges, we might even be able to rise to the next level. Xiaoxin, look, how powerful is your son? Unlike you, petty and narrow-minded. If Xiaoming comes back this time, her position in the family will be the same as yours. She will be a second wife. If you dare to bully her, then scram back to the hidden Yu family and wait for death. Don't implicate our hidden Tang family. Tang Taizhong thought of the possibility of obtaining Lin Yi's support, and the hidden Tang family would soar. In this way, the hidden Yu family's help and power would not be worth mentioning at all. Yu Xiaoxin nodded submissively but didn't dare to make a scene. Even if she was stupid, she could see that Lin Yi was now more powerful than the hidden Yu family and the hidden Tang family. If she offended Lin Yi, then her family would be ruined. Dad, don't worry, I won't dare to do it again. But you have to thank me for giving birth to Yu. If it wasn't for him, how would we have the chance to meet Lin Yi? Tang Taizhong nodded and calmed down a little. How about this, boss Yu? You guys pack up and head to Snow Valley. The sooner this matter is settled, the better. Otherwise, if Senior Lin Yi is free and decides to attack our hidden Tang family, we will be caught unprepared. Okay, Boss Tang and Tang Yu quickly agreed. However, the hidden Tang family was worrying over nothing. Lin Yi didn't really remember what happened in the hidden Tang family. His memory was messed up because of the senseless herb's medicinal liquid. He couldn't remember what conflict he had with the hidden Tang family, so it was even more impossible for him to find trouble with the hidden Tang family. Five Elements Sect. In the living room of the Five Elements Sect, Ancestor Xianxin was receiving 3 people from the secular world. However, for Ancestor Xianxin to personally come out to receive them, these 3 people's identities were definitely not ordinary. Ancestor Xianxin, I've heard a lot about you. Among the 3 people, the leader was a woman who was a little too young. At this moment, facing Ancestor Xianxin, her attitude was neither servile nor overbearing. Obviously, she was someone who had experienced a lot. Miss Luan, I'm afraid you've heard the name Xianxin not long ago, right? As for me, I've heard a lot about you. The person in charge of the largest overseas human potential research organization, the Center. Ancestor Xianxin laughed and nodded to the young woman in front of him. Don't call me Miss Luan. I'm afraid I'm about the same age as you. The woman called Miss Luan said faintly, I wonder why Ancestor Xianxin is looking for me through Jiangwen? Forgive me for being blunt. Before, I was only guessing that behind the Fire Wolf Gang and the Red Conches, there was another larger and more high-end organization. The Fire Wolf Gang and the Red Conches sounded more like a branch of a certain organization. After thinking about it, it could only be more similar to the once flourishing center. Ancestor Xianxin said, So, with an attitude of giving it a try, I invited you through Jiang. I really didn't expect that after the center was destroyed, I became much more low-key, but Ancestor Xianxin still connected the Fire Wolf Gang and the Red Conches to our center from clues. Miss Luan said with a smile. Chapter 2996. Haha, if you have something to say, just say it. Miss Luan didn't continue talking to the Xianxin ancestor and asked directly. Because Jiangwen had earned a lot of money recently, he directly entered Miss Luan's line of sight from the leader of the northern branch of the Fire Wolf Gang. It just so happened that the Xianxin ancestor sent someone to invite Jiangwen and the leader behind him to Five Elements Sect as guests, so Miss Luan appeared. If it was an ordinary sect, Miss Luan definitely wouldn't appear, but Five Elements Sect was different. Miss Luan had also heard of this sect that stood at the top of the pyramid of the cultivation world, so she agreed to come. And this was the first time Jiangwen saw the biggest boss of the Fire Wolf Gang and Red Conch. However, being able to enter the eyes of the biggest boss meant that it wasn't far from Jiang Wen's meteoric rise. Great. The Xiantian ancestor nodded and said, I've been in contact with little brother Jiang Wen before. It just so happens that Professor Yin wants to use a few practitioners to experiment and create a new type of modified biohuman. I can provide 2 practitioners here. Oh? What's the condition? Miss Luan wasn't stupid and asked directly. After all, it was a very difficult thing to find practitioners to experiment on. Which practitioner would be willing to accept the modification so easily? However, it was useless for ordinary people. Professor Yin had already modified many times and still couldn't achieve a breakthrough, so he could only find practitioners. Moreover, practitioners were very strong. If they didn't accept the modification voluntarily, no matter how strong the Fire Wolf Gang was, they wouldn't be able to capture a few practitioners to obediently cooperate with the modification. I heard that the Fire Wolf Gang is good at turning the dead back to life. As long as there are living tissues in the body, they can turn this person into a biohuman. Is that so? The Xiantian ancestor asked. That's right. What do you want to do? Miss Luan didn't deny it. However, this technology is quite advanced. It's still difficult for Yin Siren to do it himself. This is also the reason why I'm looking for Miss Luan, the Xiantian ancestor said. If Miss Luan can do it herself, I'm afraid things will become much simpler. How about it, Miss Luan? Can you help me? Who do you want to revive and modify? Miss Luan did not agree, nor did she refuse. She only asked. She was also estimating the bargaining chips, trying to see how much benefit this matter would bring to her. It's a grand disciple of mine. He was beaten into a vegetative state and is currently unconscious. As long as he wakes up, the attribute structure in his body remains the same. To put it bluntly, it's to retain the strength of a cultivator. The person that Patriarch Xiantian was referring to was naturally Taganlong. Now that the Dark Seed, Tian Chan, had failed to accept the inheritance, Patriarch Xiantian had no choice but to target Taganlong again. However, there was no hope for him to concoct the 4th-rank Great Revitalizing Pill. It was something that was out of his reach. He had no other choice but to think of other ideas. After thinking for a while, he focused on the Fire Wolf Gang and prepared to make a deal with them. Definitely not. What Patriarch Xiantian did not expect was that Miss Luan rejected his idea with one sentence. If you want your grand disciple to come back to life and have extraordinary strength, that's not a problem. However, if you want to retain the attributes and strengthen his body, at least for now, I can't do it. If it's a normal person, I can give it a try, but the key is that your grand disciple is already seriously injured. I have to change some of his genes to revive him. Who knows if the attributes in his body will change? Miss Luan directly rejected this kind of thing that could not be done, lest there be problems in the future. Is that so? Patriarch Xiantian was a little disappointed. So I said, try using a cultivator that we provide here first. I've already said that a living person is different from a dead person. There's no comparison. Miss Luan shook her head and refused. Can't you think of a way? Patriarch Xiantian was a little unwilling. Whatever price you want, just name it. I really can't. Miss Luan shook her head and said indifferently, you also know the style of our center. We can cooperate with others, but we won't easily agree to things that we can't do. Professor Luan, Patriarch Xiantian, I heard a rumor. I don't know if you want to hear it. Jiang Wen suddenly interrupted. Oh, what rumor? Patriarch Xiantian looked at Jiang Wen and asked quickly. He naturally wouldn't think that Jiang Wen would talk about something unrelated to this matter at this time. If he spoke at this time, it must be related to Taganlong's injury. Some time ago, Linny was poisoned and had his meridians and dantian destroyed. I'm sure you're familiar with this, right? Jiang Wen asked. But Linny recovered later on. Do you know why? I've heard of this, but do you know why? Patriarch Xuantian's expression became solemn as he looked at Jiang Wen. I have a rough guess. Jiang Wen said proudly. According to my sources, after Linny was injured, he was helpless, and a large group of subordinates rushed to Lin Yi's villa. This also means that the news of Lin Yi being poisoned and injured was true. Lin Yi shouldn't be faking it. Something really happened to him. Of course, no matter what, I was the one who gave the poison. It would be strange if it didn't work. Patriarch Xinshin nodded and said without hiding anything. Oh? This news surprised Jiang Wen. Patriarch Xinshin, you're also Lin Yi's opponent? Then why isn't Lin Yi dead yet? However, Jiang Wen was puzzled. How powerful was the Five Elements sect? Was there a need to poison Lin Yi if they wanted to kill him? They could just send out a couple of masters and Lin Yi would be dead. Due to some reasons, my men and I can't do it ourselves. Patriarch Xinshin waved his hand and said awkwardly, let's not talk about this for now. Continue with your guess. Okay. Back then, Lin Yi had been recuperating in the villa. However, someone came to the villa after that. Jiang Wen said, who? Patriarch Xinshin frowned. He was a little unhappy that Jiang Wen was keeping him in suspense. Sun Jingyi, Jiang Wen said, our family was once one of the 4 big and 5 small noble families in the secular world. We know very well what's special about the Sun family. That is, the people of the Sun family have a special incantation that can heal others. Chapter 2997. There's one more chapter in the morning. Asking for monthly votes. Shu says, Yao Yao sis told me to ask for monthly votes from you guys. So she had this ability? In the eyes of the Xinshin ancestor, the level of the common world noble house was very low. He didn't care about it at all. He didn't even care about the matters of the hidden world. So he really did ignore the matters of the common Sun family. According to my guess, that must be the case. After all, only Sun Jingyi had this ability back then. No one else could. Plus, Lin Yi's Dantian is destroyed, so he can't use pills. Jiang Wen nodded. Jiang Wen, you've said so much. You want me to find that Sun Jingyi to heal my grand-disciple? Xinshin ancestor asked. Sun Jingyi's definitely not going to make it. House Sun's arts can only heal one person, and after that, she'll only be able to heal that person for the rest of her life. It's useless even if you capture her. Jiang Wen waved his hand. What I mean is, you can find someone else from the Sun family and try. That's a good idea. The Xinshin ancestor nodded. He wasn't too willing to capture Sun Jingyi. After all, he'd already made an agreement with Boss Bai. Although Sun Jingyi wasn't Boss Bai's student, she was still someone that Little 1 and Little 11 had touched last time. If he touched her again, it would be equivalent to not giving Boss Bai face, and it wouldn't be right. So, it was best to find someone else to replace her. I'm just saying. The specifics will depend on you, Xinshin ancestor, Jiang Wen said. Jiang Wen said, but my idea is worth the 2 test subjects, right? Oh, that's true. Since that's the case, you guys can modify those 2 test subjects. The Xinshin ancestor had wanted to use Zhao Guangyin and Mian Huachuan to exchange for some benefits, but he had to admit that Jiang Wen's suggestion was indeed very valuable. Miss Luan looked at Jiang Wen with praise. She felt that Jiang Wen was developing well, and that he was good at making money and negotiating with people. The 2 test subjects were supposed to pay the price, but Jiang Wen tricked them with a piece of information. In Siren, find a chance to see if the 2 test subjects meet the requirements, Miss Luan said to Professor Yin. Yes, Ancestral Master Luan. Professor Yin's name was In Siren, but he actually addressed Miss Luan as Ancestral Master. Miss Luan was actually Professor Yin's master's master. However, Jiang Wen seemed to have known about this a long time ago, so he didn't mind. Elder Xinshin was a little surprised. In his opinion, even if Miss Luan knew these science and technology, she was probably only about the same as Professor Yin. He didn't expect that as the leader of the center, she was actually Professor Yin's teacher. Miss Luan brought Jiang Wen and the professor to rest, waiting for the 2 test subjects to come. Xinshin, on the other hand, went to investigate House Sun. After learning that Chunxi was fine, Lin Yi decided to go to Star West Village. Lin Yi went next door to ask Han Xiaoqiao when Han Jingjing could come out of isolation, but Han Xiaoqiao said that it would take at least a month, so Lin Yi decided to go back to Star West Village and open the 3rd stone door first. After all, Han Jingjing's isolation didn't have a specific time, at least a month or so. This meant that it might not be finished in a month or so, so Lin Yi would have returned from Star West Village long ago. At night, Lin Yi called Ming Yao, Yu Shu, and his followers together, preparing to talk to them about going to Star West Village. This kind of solemn atmosphere made everyone understand what decision Linny was going to make. Tomorrow, I plan to go back to Starwest Village, Linny said to everyone. Ah, Linny, didn't you recover? Why do you want to go back to Starwest Village? Ming Yao paused and asked curiously. I don't have much to do recently, mainly. I need money. When I go back, I want to discuss with my old man if I can go back to my old business and earn some quick money, Linny said, a little embarrassed. This was actually one of Lin Yi's secondary goals. Fatty Lai didn't say anything recently, but Linny could feel that he was having a hard time. His villa by Lead Hua River was sold, and his car was changed to a second-hand business car. This was enough to show how difficult it was for Fatty Lai. So, as the real boss of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, Linny had to do something. Moreover, although Xiaoke didn't say anything, Lin Yi could imagine how difficult it was for Xiaoke's orphanage. It was okay to take in orphans, but most of them had congenital diseases. They were either disabled or had cerebral palsy. The medical fees were endless. Ming Yao's mission had come to an end. Now, even if Linny handed in the mission, he couldn't leave the Miss and Shu behind. However, while carrying out this mission, he could still take on some other missions, and it wouldn't delay him. Linny could see that these hidden houses were very powerful. When he wasn't injured, no matter where he was, even if he went to the Heavenly Elixir sect for more than a month, these people didn't dare to come looking for trouble. But once he was injured, even if he was in the villa, these people would still come looking for trouble. So, even if Linny went to do some other missions, as long as he was fine, these hidden houses wouldn't dare to do anything to Ming Yao and the others. When he went to the Heavenly Elixir sect, Zhao Qibing was beaten up badly by Yu Shu, but he didn't dare to say no. Once he was injured, he would jump out and show his fangs. Ah, you need money? The miss was slightly stunned. She then remembered about Lin Yi's medical company. Because of Lin Yi's injury, she forgot about it. Now that she thought about it, Linny really did need money. These lackeys actually didn't have a solution. Although they could gather 100 million if they clenched their teeth, it was just a drop in the bucket for the operation of the medical company. It wouldn't be of much use at all. Linny had to find another way to quickly gather a large amount of money. Yes, it's not a shameful thing. What happened to House Lu this time brought too much trouble. Now that my injuries are fine, the next step is to get some money. Linny said, That's right. I'm not a big deal. Then, let Shu go with you? The miss hesitated and said, in fact, she wanted to go herself, but she was too embarrassed to say it. With the miss's personality, naturally, she pushed the responsibility to Shu. Chapter 2998. Fourth update. Asking for monthly votes. We're now 14th, only 65 votes away from 10th. Our next goal is 12th, and we'll do it again tomorrow. Readers on mobile phones, please vote for the Murlocs and support them. Who's going? I still have exams to take. Meng Yao glared at Yu Shu. She was a little embarrassed that her thoughts were exposed. Oh, then Shu can go by herself. Yu Shu blinked and said, Yao Shu, I'll go alone this time. I'm not going to play this time, but to discuss something. I don't think it'll be interesting. Plus, I plan to ride the purple lightning beast. It's faster, so I won't drive. Lin Yi didn't plan on bringing the two girls with him. Lin Yi still had to open the third door. This was a secret, and Lin Yi didn't want people to know about it. The Miss and Shu were trustworthy people, but if they were to come, the lackeys would have to come as well. Lin Yi had no reason to reject them. That's fine. It'll be faster. Shu, you're not allowed to go either. Stay with me for exams. The Miss said calmly, but she was a little disappointed. I'll be back soon. Lin Yi smiled. I won't be gone for long this time. Boss, do we need a few people to go with you? Chikuan asked. No need. Just leave a few people to protect Yao Yao and Shu. The others have been out for a while. Go home and do your own things. I'll find you guys when I have something to do. Lin Yi rejected with a wave of his hand. All right. Chikuan didn't insist. After all, with Lin Yi's strength, it was inconvenient for him to bring lackeys along. Chuntian, on the other hand, was apologetic. Boss, out of all of us, only House Yu and House Lu are the wealthiest. Now that House Lu is bankrupt, there's a limit to how much we can help. I'm regretting it now. If I hadn't wasted so much money chasing after Jingyi, I'd be able to take out some more now. Haha, I'm already very grateful for your kind intentions. I'll think of a way to deal with the rest. Linny waved his hand and said nonchalantly. He needed money for everything, and there were only so many ways he could earn it. The pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, on the other hand, couldn't be brought out into the world again. Kang Xiaoming would probably come looking for trouble again if he did, and he might even use the opportunity to cancel the pill. Lin Yi didn't want any trouble, so he had no choice but to turn the pill into the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. It wasn't time for the practitioner's market yet, either, or Lin Yi could have sold another batch of pills. That would have been a huge relief to him. At night, Lin Yi didn't rest. Instead, he went to the villa's yard. Since he'd decided to leave, the first thing Lin Yi did was to level up his 3 beasts. The purple Thunderbolt beast should be faster than before when it reached Earth class, and Lin Yi rode it back with a speed advantage. Feng, come with me back to West Star Village. I'll level you up first. Lin Yi waved at the purple Thunderbolt beast. Roar, roar dashed. The purple Thunderbolt beast heard Lin Yi's words and ran over. Lin Yi found a clean place, sat down cross-legged, and started the second stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery to level up the purple Thunderbolt beast. This wasn't the first time the purple Thunderbolt beast accepted Lin Yi's true chi transfer, so it didn't panic. Instead, it painfully and happily enjoyed the feeling of leveling up. At this moment, the purple Thunderbolt beast was at the peak of the late phase of Mystic class, and Lin Yi helped it break through to Earth class. Then, its strength soared until it finally stopped at the peak of the late phase of Earth class. Although this was a leveling up from Mystic class to Earth class, it consumed more true chi than the previous leveling up from Yellow class to Mystic class. But now that Lin Yi's Art of Dragon Mastery was at the peak of the second stage, the speed of circulation and true chi transfer were incomparable. So, it only took a few hours for the purple Thunderbolt beast to successfully level up. Next, it was General Weiwu and Skybolt Pig's turn. But General Weiwu was the first spiritual beast to follow Lin Yi, so he gave the opportunity to Skybolt Pig first. Lin Yi didn't care about their modesty. Anyway, it was just a matter of entering Earth class earlier or later. Since Skybolt Pig came first, then it was Skybolt Pig. However, when Lin Yi was leveling up Skybolt Pig, he was shocked by the sparks and lightning not far away. At first, Lin Yi thought it was going to rain. But when he looked carefully, it was the horn on the purple Thunderbolt beast's forehead that was releasing lightning. Although the intensity of the lightning released by the purple Thunderbolt beast didn't seem strong, it was enough to surprise Lin Yi. Could it be that after the purple Thunderbolt beast advanced to Earth class, it could also use martial arts? Previously, Lin Yi heard that the purple Thunderbolt beast could use martial arts when it was in Earth class, but he didn't expect it to be true. Moreover, it seemed to be a very powerful and flashy lightning martial art. I wonder how strong it is against the enemy? But Lin Yi was currently leveling up Skybolt Pig, so he didn't have time to test the strength of the purple Thunderbolt beast's martial art. He could only wait until the matter at hand was over. However, what surprised Lin Yi was that during these few hours of leveling up Skybolt Pig, Lin Yi witnessed how the purple Thunderbolt beast's lightning martial art went from jerky to proficient. However, as the purple Thunderbolt beast continued to use it, the brightness of the lightning became dimmer and dimmer. It seemed like the purple Thunderbolt beast's physical strength and true energy had been depleted. When a human cultivator used martial arts, it would consume a large amount of physical strength and true energy. It seemed like it was the same for spiritual beasts. However, Lin Yi didn't care about it for the time being. Until Skybolt Pig finished leveling up, Lin Yi asked the purple Thunderbolt beast, Little Feng, is this your martial art? Just how powerful is this martial skill of yours? Roar, roar, the purple Thunderbolt beast said weakly. Gigi. Skybolt Pig used his claws to write on the ground and translated. If you are proficient in using it, it should be about the same as your Earth-class martial arts 9th style. However, there is a limit to the number of times you can use it. You can only use it 2 to 3 times. Oh, only the 9th style. Lin Yi was a little depressed. If it was the 9th style, there really wasn't much of an advantage. Because all of Lin Yi's little brothers were already Earth-class peak late phase experts, and they were already preparing to start learning martial arts. Using the ninth style wouldn't be difficult at all. However, Lin Yi's eyes suddenly narrowed, and he asked, "You're saying that it's about the same as my Earth-class martial arts ninth style? Are you referring to the Frenzy Fire Fist, or the Frenzy Fire 8 Trigram Palm?" Chapter 2999. Seeking Monthly Votes. Dear readers, please cast your monthly votes to support the Murlocs. What? Linny was pleasantly surprised after hearing Skybolt Pig's explanation. The ninth style of Raging Fire 8 Trigrams Palm was something that could instantly kill a Heaven Ranker. He could only use it once, but the Purple Electric Beast could use it twice or thrice. What kind of concept was this? In other words, even if Linny faced 3 or 4 Heaven Rankers, he would be able to handle it. Of course, Lin Yi didn't know if he would have an advantage when facing a Heaven Ranker, but even a Heaven Ranker would be heavily injured if he were to face 4 attacks from the beast. Then can you use it proficiently now? Lin Yi quickly asked. Roar roar. The Purple Electric Beast shook its head. GG. Skybolt Pig translated. Little Feng said that it can't use the full effect of the martial skill. It can only use 70 to 80% of it. It should be able to kill a Heaven Rank Middle Stage Master, but it's a bit weak against a Heaven Rank Middle Stage Master. It's okay. Practice more then. Although Lin Yi was a little disappointed, he was more surprised. Because a spirit beast could use martial skills, then Lin Yi could go on missions and earn money without worry. With the Purple Electric Beast at home, it was equivalent to Lin Yi guarding the place. Even if a Heaven Ranker came, Lin Yi wouldn't be afraid. In the end, the only one left was General Wei Wu. After leveling it up to Earth-class late phase Peak Dog, the sky was getting brighter. It was a busy night, but Lin Yi was disappointed that Skybolt Pig and General Wei Wu didn't have any martial skills. General Wei Wu's lack of martial skills was within Lin Yi's expectations. After all, it wasn't a real spirit beast, but a pseudo-spirit beast that Lin Yi forcefully upgraded. However, Skybolt Pig was a spirit beast with the ability to find treasures, but it didn't have any martial skills either. Lin Yi didn't know why it leveled up. Did it increase its ability to find treasures? In the morning, Lin Yi prepared a sumptuous breakfast. This was Lin Yi's farewell feast with Yao Yao, Shu, and the others before he left. After I leave, Chiton and Chintian can stay here. Everyone else can go back. Lin Yi said to everyone, "You all have your own things to do. You can come back when you have something to do." Everyone nodded. What Lin Yi said was the truth. Now that Lin Yi had nothing to do, those clowns had all gone into hiding. As long as Lin Yi's strength was there, no matter where he was, nothing would happen to the family. At least, the hidden forces wouldn't dare to cause trouble. Jingyi, if you don't have anything else to do, go spend time with Faubert. After you met him, you didn't go with him. You only cared about me in the villa. Lin Yi turned to look at Sun Jingyi. Sun Jingyi had been living in the villa recently. Because of Faubert, Mengyao didn't reject Sun Jingyi at all. She prepared a room for her upstairs. But I have to go home first, Sun Jingyi said. According to House Sun's rules, after treating someone, the children of House Sun have to go back to the ancestral hall to register their genealogy. If there are no accidents, that person will be the other half of the children of House Sun. Sun Jingyi blushed as she said this. She carefully looked at the miss and sighed in relief when she saw that the miss didn't have any other expression. Lin Yi was slightly taken aback. He didn't expect House Sun to have this rule. He quickly said, "Jingyi, I'll go visit Elder Sun after I come back. I'll tell him about us." Since this was House Sun's rule, Lin Yi had feelings for Sun Jingyi. He naturally had to give Sun Jingyi an explanation. However, what made Lin Yi feel relieved was that the miss and Shu didn't show any dissatisfaction. When Sun Jingyi came, they showed great dislike towards her. However, they were very friendly towards Sun Jingyi. This was probably because Sun Jingyi saved him and was Faubert and Grandma Sun's daughter. Jingyi responded softly, blushing a little. Actually, if there's time this time, Lin Yi, it'd be best if you brought Jingyi back. Mengyao said, "Of course, if you can't make it this time, you can tell Grandpa Lin first." "Ah, okay." Lin Yi nodded and looked at the miss gratefully. Her personality seemed to have changed a little. Mengyao was a little embarrassed by Lin Yi's gaze. She said, Jingyi has done so much for you, and she likes to be with you. Shu and I are very happy to see that, but we still need to tell Xiao Xiao about this. That's true. I'll go to the Ice Palace soon and talk to Xiao Xiao about this personally. I'll tell her about Jingyi and Xinyan. Lin didn't feel pressured towards the Ice Palace anymore. Although it couldn't be said that Lin Yi's strength was above the Ice Palace, it was because Lin Yi had stepped into Sky Class, and the distance between him and Rock Candy was getting closer and closer. In front of her, he didn't have that unreachable feeling anymore. Sun Jingyi lowered her head, too shy to say anything. Even she didn't think that things would go so smoothly between her and Lin Yi. After saying goodbye to everyone, Lin Yi rode the purple lightning beast and disappeared in front of everyone's eyes. It was only dawn, and there weren't many people and cars out there. Lin Yi and the purple lightning beast took a secluded path, so no one noticed them. At the same time, in the Snowy Valley, there were 2 uninvited guests today. The disciples of the Snowy Valley had stopped a car in the Snowy Valley. This is the Snowy Valley. If you 2 are here to explore or to travel, please stop. The patrolling disciples stopped Boss Tang's car. Boss Tang didn't dare act rashly. This was the Snowy Valley, a place that was much stronger than the hidden sections. Even a normal patrolling disciple had the same strength as him. Boss Tang said respectfully, "Young warrior, we are here to look for someone. This is the Snowy Valley, right?" "Yes, this is the Snowy Valley. Who are you looking for?" The patrolling disciple nodded. His expression softened when he heard that Boss Tang was looking for someone. "We are looking for Tang Yun. May I ask if she is here?" Boss Tang asked. Chapter 3000. I am Tang Yun's father, and this is Tang Yun's brother. We are from the hidden Tang family, and we are here to visit her. Boss Tang was shocked and quickly explained. "What? You said you are Elder Tang's father?" The patrolling disciple was stunned. The words of the 2 people in the car made him dumbfounded. Didn't Tang Yun's parents live in the Snowy Valley? Who in the Snowy Valley didn't know? These 2 people could have pretended to be Tang Yun's father? Wasn't this exposed in an instant? However, the patrolling disciple didn't expose them on the spot. Since these people were using the name of Tang Yun's father to deceive them, they had to take them down first and see what sinister motives they had. Yes, Boss Tang didn't know what the patrolling disciple was thinking, so he nodded immediately. The disciple said calmly, "You guys wait here for a while. I will go report." "All right," Boss Tang nodded. The patrolling disciple took out a piece of paper and stuck it on the windshield of Boss Tang's car. On it was written, "Patrolling Disciple 19, waiting to report." Boss Tang and Tang Yu didn't know what was going on, so they quietly waited for the patrolling disciple to report back. But what they got was a group of aggressive Snowy Valley disciples. Every single one of these Snow Valley disciples had the strength of an early stage to late stage peak. The moment they arrived, they surrounded Tang Boss and Tang Yu. The 2 of them didn't even dare to think of resisting. In fact, even if these people weren't Earth class, Boss Tang wouldn't dare act rashly. After all, this was the Snowy Valley's territory. No matter how arrogant he was, he wouldn't come to the Snowy Valley to show off. Wouldn't that be suicide? Plus, he was here to acknowledge his family, so he had to show a friendly attitude. What is the meaning of this?" Boss Tang didn't think that Tang Yun wouldn't come, but a group of Snowy Valley disciples, and they didn't look like they had good intentions. "Take them down first, and wait for me to pass the message to Elder Tang before making a decision." The one on duty today was another elder of the Snow Valley, Elder Chen. Because this matter involved Tang Yun, he wouldn't make a decision on his own. Instead, he took down the 2 people who claimed to be Tang Yun's father and brother and waited for Tang Yun to deal with this matter. Originally, Boss Tang wanted to defend himself, but when he heard that Elder Chen wanted to pass the message to Tang Yun, he let out a sigh of relief. Once Tang Yun arrived, everything would be easy to discuss. Therefore, eldest brother Tang gave Tang Yu a meaningful look. The 2 of them did not resist and obediently followed the disciples of the Snow Valley to the reception room of the Snow Valley, where they were temporarily detained. Tang Yun was in the middle of training, and the Grand Elder's sudden visit surprised Tang Yun. Normally, the Grand Elder wouldn't come to find Tang Yun personally. Even if there was something, the the disciple on duty would pass it on. She came here personally, so something big must have happened. For example, if Linny came, or if someone related to Linny came. Tang Yun greets the Grand Elder. Tang Yun stood up and greeted respectfully. Elder Tang, there are two people outside the Snow Valley who claim to be your father and brother. Do you know these two people? The Grand Elder didn't hide anything and asked straightforwardly. After all, the person who came was not Linny, so she didn't need to hide anything. However, the rule of the Snow Valley was that if someone came to find Tang Yun, they must first report to the Grand Elder. This was because the Grand Elder was afraid that Lin Yi would directly pass the message over, so she added this rule. This was also the reason why she came personally today. My father? My brother? Tang Yun was slightly stunned. Doesn't my father live in the Snow Valley? I have a younger brother, no older brother? Then these two people are liars? The Grand Elder nodded and said, Then I will get people to teach these two liars a lesson and chase them out of the Snow Valley. Wait, Tang Yun suddenly thought of something and said, I'll go see them first. All right, then you go. In the guest hall, I won't go. You deal with it as you see fit. The Grand Elder said to Tang Yun. Okay. Tang Yun got up and left the room, walking towards the guest hall. The Grand Elder was very satisfied with Tang Yun recently. Although Linny came last time, Tang Yun didn't recognize him and didn't do anything inappropriate, which made the Grand Elder feel relieved. But the only thing she was worried about was that Tang Yun's heartless art cultivation had encountered an obstacle. If the heartless art was not cultivated to the extreme, then it would be impossible to cross the gap between the peak late stage of heaven stage and the great perfection. Although the Grand Elder was also at the peak late stage of heaven stage and was infinitely close to the great perfection, he was still not at the great perfection. Although Tang Yun was an inheritor and there was no level barrier under the heavenly Tao, there was no level barrier between the peak late stage of heaven stage and the great perfection late stage of heaven stage. This was a kind of accumulation of strength and the cultivator's own understanding. It had nothing to do with the level barrier. If the level of the heartless art could not be reached, then the last step would not be taken. This was what the Grand Elder was most worried about. Tang Yun walked all the way to the guest hall and saw Tang Yun and Tang Yu surrounded by the disciples of the Snow Valley. She had vaguely guessed who these two people were, but when she saw them with her own eyes, a complicated expression flashed across her face. Disciples of the Snow Valley, leave. Tang Yun waved her hand and said to the disciples in the room, Yes, Elder Tang. Seeing that Tang Yun had come, the disciples also left the guest hall respectfully. At this moment, only Tang Yun, Tang Yu, and Tang Yun were left in the guest hall. Tang Yun, I didn't expect you to be so powerful. You are already an elder of the Snow Valley. As your father, I am really happy and proud for you. Tang Yun didn't know what to say. After a long time, he finally said this. Of course, if these words were said by other father and daughter, it would be very normal. But when it came to Tang Yun and Tang Yun, it was really a bit funny. What are you doing here? Tang Yun's face, other than the complicated expression when she first entered the room, had already returned to her indifferent expression. She had cultivated the heartless art, and her whole person was cold. Even when facing Lin Yi, her whole aura would not change. Although Tang Yun did not want to, there was no other way. This was the mantra. The more she cultivated it, the more her aura would change. Chapter 3001. Currently, there are 119 votes. If the monthly votes reach 150 before midnight, I'll update another chapter. You still need 31 votes. Readers on mobile phones, please vote for the Murlocs as well. Thank you for your support. Birthday banquet? Tang Yun suddenly remembered what happened in the hidden house Tang. Linny held her hand and broke off with the hidden house Tang. She was helpless at that time, but standing beside Lin Yi gave her a sense of security. But now, he had forgotten her. The two of them had become impossible. She didn't think that the person who came to her door was the father who abandoned his wife and daughter, the father who cut off all ties with her. Tang Yui was a little embarrassed. He looked at Tang Boss and then at Tang Yun. He sighed and said, Tang Yun sis, I know you have grievances in your heart, but this person is still our father. That's right. I know. Tang Yun nodded. She had a good impression of Tang Yun. Since Tang Yun had spoken, Tang Yun didn't say anything else. She only said, "But you guys are here. What do you want?" "Sister Tang Yun, it's like this. I'm afraid you've received the news, right? It's about Senior Lin Yi." Although Tang Yun had a good relationship with Tang Yun, they had only met for a short time. Tang Yun wasn't sure if Tang Yun would give him face, so he was careful when he spoke. "Lin Yi? Senior? What news?" Tang Yun didn't understand. Why was Lin Yi a senior in Tang Yuyu's mouth? Even if Tang Yun saw Lin Yi in the Snow Valley and knew some of Lin Yi's heroic deeds, such as how he could instantly kill a heaven stage when he was an earth stage, there was no need to call him senior, right? Tang Yuyu was stunned. He didn't know the inside story of Tang Yun going to the Snow Valley. He only knew from some news that Tang Yun went to the Snow Valley and became an important elder of the Snow Valley. He didn't know the rest. But since Tang Yun was important in the Snow Valley and the disciples called her Elder Tang, how could she not know about Lin Yi? So Tang Yun wasn't sure if Tang Yun didn't want to talk to him, or if she really didn't know. "Tang Yun, sis, you don't know?" Tang Yu paused and looked at Tang Yun. He wanted to see if she didn't want to say it, or if she really didn't know. Unfortunately, although Tang Yun asked, her expression didn't change. She was still 1,000 miles away. "I've been in closed-door training the whole time. I just came out when I heard that you guys were here. Of course I didn't know." Tang Yun shook her head. "Tell me, what happened to Lin Yi?" Although Tang Yun really wanted to know about Lin Yi, she was very calm. She didn't want Tang Yuyu and Boss Tang to notice anything. "It's like this." Tang Yuyu didn't hide anything. Since Tang Yun asked him to, he told Tang Yun about how Lin Yi got injured, poisoned, crippled, and then miraculously recovered. He also told Tang Yun about how he destroyed the hidden house Zhao. Tang Yun looked at Tang Yun for help because he realized that he was a bit guilty in front of Tang Yun. Although Tang Yun didn't show her strength, her aura and the attitude of the Snowy Valley disciples were enough to show that Tang Yun's strength was not ordinary. Otherwise, she wouldn't be an elder of the Snowy Valley. Perhaps Tang Yun's strength had already surpassed Tang Taizhong's, so Tang Yun didn't dare to speak in front of her. Tang Yun had no choice but to bite the bullet and said, "Sister Tang Yun, I know that after I said these words, you must have a bad impression of me. But sometimes there is no other way. As a disciple of the Hidden Tang family, there are some things that I have to say. So please forgive me." Chapter 3002. Updated in the middle of the night. Asking for monthly votes. Mobile readers, Chidian readers, please support the Fishman and vote monthly. Tang Yuyu heard Tang Yun call him a brother and was stunned. He couldn't believe his ears and looked at Tang Yun in disbelief. You, what did you call me? You're willing to recognize me as your brother?" "Brother Yuyu, my birth mother said that you are a good person. So no matter what happens between me and the Hidden Tang family, I will still recognize you as my brother." Tang Yun nodded and said, "So, if there's anything, just say it." Okay. Tang Yu was pleasantly surprised and quickly said, "Actually, this matter is related to Lin Yi." "Lin Yi? What about him?" Tang Yun frowned. "What's his relationship with your family?" "It's not a relationship, it's our Hidden Tang family. We're afraid that Lin Yi will come looking for trouble." As he said that, Tang Yu told Tang Yun about Grandpa Tang's worry for Lin Yi after seeing the hidden Zhao family being destroyed. However, Tang Yun didn't know whether to laugh or cry after hearing it. She knew Lin Yi's personality very well. Not to mention the Hidden Tang family, it was a family that had some relationship with her. Even if there wasn't a relationship, she wouldn't take the initiative to provoke Lin Yi, and Lin Yi wouldn't have the mood to cause trouble. After all, although the Tang family was unhappy, it wasn't to the point where Lin Yi had to remember to settle the score. "You don't have to worry about this. Lin Yi won't be so bored to find trouble with you. As long as you don't provoke him, nothing will happen." Tang Yun waved her hand and said, "If that's the case, then can you help me make a phone call? Then we'll go and apologize." Boss Tang was relieved when he heard that Lin Yi wouldn't settle accounts. However, he still wanted to build a good relationship with Lin Yi, so he wanted Tang Yun to be his bridge. Humans were like this. Often, after one thing subsided, they would think of something else. They would never be satisfied. Previously, Boss Tang was worried that Lin Yi would cause trouble for the hidden Tang family. Now that the problem was solved, Boss Tang began to think about whether the hidden Tang family could get any benefits from Lin Yi. Tang Yuyu blushed a little. He didn't expect his father to ask this question directly. It made him lose face. After all, he didn't want the little bit of kinship he had cultivated with Tang Yun to be washed away by benefits. Tang Yun's face changed at Boss Tang's words. It wasn't that she didn't want to help, but she couldn't. What if eldest brother Tang went to look for Lin Yi? That he was the son-in-law of the hidden Tang family? Then wouldn't Lin Yi be very puzzled? Since when did he have a girlfriend with the surname Tang? Tang Yun absolutely wouldn't allow this to happen. It was no longer important whether Auntie Xiaoming returned to the hidden Tang family or not. If she went back, it might cause his mother and Houseu to be unhappy. But if she didn't go back, he would have Tang Yun's support and wouldn't offend the hidden Houseu. Boss Tang had a good plan, but Tang Yun couldn't say anything. After all, he wasn't the head of the family. He could only helplessly say to Tang Yun, "I'll go see Auntie Xiaoming. When I was young, Auntie Xiaoming was very good to me. She was like her own son, okay?" Tang Yun nodded and agreed. She looked at Boss Tang. "Are you going?" "Then, I'll go and see." Boss Tang blamed Tang Yun for being a busybody. He could just go back. Why would he go and see Xiaoming? What if she wanted to go back to the hidden Zhao family after seeing her? "You don't need to go." How could Tang Yun not see through Boss Tang's thoughts? She was completely disappointed in him and directly refused. "Oh, okay. Yun, I'll listen to whatever you say," Boss Tang quickly said. He was relieved in his heart. Tang Yun was helpless. He thought that his father was too embarrassing, but he couldn't do anything. He silently followed Tang Yun and walked into the snow valley. Chapter 3003. Although the monthly votes did not reach his expectations, the chapter had already been written. The merman wasn't the kind of author who wouldn't update without receiving votes. Since he had written it, he would publish it. However, the merman was very sad. Could it be that he couldn't even reach 30 votes? Not only did the merman's ranking not increase, it even dropped by 1 place. Our subscriptions aren't low. Dear readers, 1 vote per person. Let's rush up. Summoning monthly votes. Chapter 3004. Summoning monthly tickets. Readers who are reading and starting from scratch, please support the Murlocs. I'm not angry. I'm helping the hidden Tang family out of respect for you and Little Ming's mother. I have nothing to do with that person. Tang Yun's voice was cold and emotionless. She had no feelings for the hidden Tang family to begin with, and it was even more so after practicing the heartless arts. Sigh. Tang Yuyu sighed and smiled bitterly. I'm already very happy that you acknowledge me. I can't force anything else. Oh right, tell your father not to look for Lin Yi. Otherwise, if something bad happens, it won't be something we can control, Tang Yun reminded him again. Okay, I'll tell my father. Tang Yuyu nodded. The two of them walked to Little Ming's place. Little Ming was very happy to see Tang Yuyu come to see her, but when she found out that Boss Tang was also here, she couldn't help but feel disappointed. Tang Yun saw this and didn't say anything. After all, Little Ming still had some feelings for Boss Tang. After so many years, she followed him and didn't have any contact with other men. It wasn't easy to completely forget Boss Tang, but in Tang Yun's eyes, it was almost impossible for the two of them to be together again, unless Boss Tang's personality changed. Tang Yuyu and Little Ming chatted for a while and left. After all, Boss Tang was still waiting, so Tang Yun didn't send him off. She found a disciple to send him off, and she stayed to chat with Little Ming's mother. There weren't many opportunities like this. Tang Yun spent most of her time in the Snow Valley cultivating, and Wang Yuming and Wang Yujia's personalities were different. Wang Yujia was overbearing and unruly. She walked around the Snow Valley and could see Tang Yun at any time, but Wang Yuming followed the rules of the Snow Valley and didn't walk around as she pleased. Eldest brother Tang happily rushed back to the hidden Tang family. Tang Yuyu could only helplessly follow him back to the hidden Tang family. Grandfather Tang let out a sigh of relief when he found out about the outcome of the matter. However, at the same time, He prepared to host a banquet and invite the elders of the other hidden families to celebrate the fact that the hidden Tang family had the backing of the ancient sect, Snow Valley. Of course, it was just a celebration to show off in front of others. Lin Yi naturally didn't know that his action of destroying the hidden Zhao family had caused such a huge confusion to the hidden Tang family. At this moment, Lin Yi had already arrived at the West Star Mountain village, riding Little Wind. It happened to be evening. When Lin Yi appeared in his courtyard, Lin Dongfang noticed him. "You're back?" When Lin Dongfang saw Lin Yi riding a spirit beast back, he wasn't surprised at all. He didn't express any surprise towards the spirit beast either. Instead, he asked in a very normal manner. "Yes, old man. You knew I was coming back?" Lin Yi was stunned. He didn't expect old man Lin's expression to be so calm. "When I heard that you were crippled, I thought that you would return. However, now that you've recovered and returned, I am surprised," Old Man Lin said as he came to the purple electric tempest beast's side. He patted it up and down and said, "This little thing looks pretty good. Can it be eaten?" Lin Yi was instantly speechless. The purple electric tempest beast had never seen Old Man Lin before. When it heard that Old Man Lin was going to summon it, it immediately showed hostility. It widened its eyes and roared, "Roar, roar! What are you roaring for?" Old Man Lin pulled the purple electric tempest beast in front of him, which gave the purple electric tempest beast a huge fright. What kind of great strength was this? Being pulled like this, it almost tumbled down. One should know that the purple electric tempest beast was very strong. However, this seemingly weak old man in front of it was able to pull it down. One could imagine how strong his strength was. The purple electric tempest beast immediately realized that this person in front of it was an existence that couldn't be provoked. It subconsciously wanted to take 2 steps back. However, it realized that Old Man Lin's hand was on its horn, preventing it from moving at all. Roar, roar, roar. The purple electric tempest beast was instantly anxious. Suddenly, a flash of lightning flashed on its horn. It followed Old Man Lin's hand and hit Old Man Lin's body. It can even discharge electricity? Old Man Lin looked at the purple electric tempest beast strangely. He didn't care about the lightning at all. It was as if the lightning didn't even hit him. After being hit by the purple electric tempest beast's lightning martial skill, Old Man Lin was completely fine. He could even speak. "This electricity is such a waste. It can even light up a light bulb." Lin Yi clicked his tongue. However, Lin Yi was already used to Old Man Lin's heaven-defying strength since he was young. However, this time, he was quite shocked. The purple electric tempest beast's lightning martial skill could instantly kill a peak mid-stage heaven-class expert. However, it was actually nothing to Old Man Lin. Previously, Lin Yi felt that Old Man Lin was extremely powerful. He was stronger than Old Man Lin, and that was why he had never beaten him before. Now, it seemed like Old Man Lin wasn't just average strength. He was super strong. "Alright, old man, stop teasing it." Along the way, Little Phone carried me back, and it was quite tiring. "It is quite loyal," Lin Yi said to Old Man Lin. "Oh." Old Man Lin let go of his hand and didn't make things difficult for the purple electric tempest beast anymore. However, the purple electric tempest beast was so scared that it hid in a corner and didn't even dare to breathe loudly. It thought to itself, "Lin Yi's family is indeed terrifying." Lin Yi was already a terrifying existence, and it didn't expect that there was an old man in his family who was even more terrifying than him. He didn't even react to the lightning martial skill, and he was extremely powerful. "You are back. Are you going up the mountain?" Old Man Lin looked at Lin Yi and asked. "Yes, I have completed the 2nd level. I'm going to go and have a look." Lin Yi nodded. "Is everything settled in East Ocean City?" Old Man Lin asked. "Yes, but there was a problem. One of my younger sisters was captured and sent to the Heavenly Elixir sect," Lin Yi said. "Chun-Shi?" Old Man Lin asked. "I say, old man, how do you know everything? Did you install a surveillance camera on me?" Lin Yi was stunned. He realized that he couldn't hide anything from Old Man Lin. "No, I just paid more attention to you recently. Your growth has finally accelerated, and I am very pleased," Old Man Lin said. "When you come back next time, I will probably be able to tell you some things. Oh? Lin was slightly stunned. He then asked, "You can't tell me now?" "Not yet." Old man Lin shook his head. Chapter 3005. By the way, are there any missions recently? Lin Yi changed the topic. Are you short of money? Old Lin looked at Lin Yi. I thought you had already adapted to a comfortable life. My life now is not as comfortable as it used to be. Compared to the life of an assassin, it's child's play. It's just that my strength has increased, and I don't feel that it's that dangerous as a cultivator anymore. Lin Yi smiled bitterly and said, every world has its own rules. If you don't step into it, you'll never understand it. Since you want to take on missions, I can help you think about it. Of course, don't take on the missions from before. I'll help you find some high-end missions with high pay. Old Lin agreed. All right, the more the better, Lin Yi replied. Of course, don't make it too difficult. I don't want to die for money. Oh, I'll help you check, Old Lin said nonchalantly. That night, Lin Yi left Little Feng at Old Lin's place while he rushed to West Star Mountain. After the second stone door opened, Lin Yi remembered that there was a stone tablet beside the third stone door that was completely different from the first stone door. There was a line of words written in seal script on it. You can open the stone door after mastering the second level of the art of dragon mastery. In this way, Lin Yi didn't have to abide by the 5-year promise on the night of the full moon. As long as he mastered the second level of the art of dragon mastery, he could open the third stone door. Now that Lin Yi had mastered the second level of the art of dragon mastery, he should be able to enter the stone door smoothly. Lin Yi arrived in front of the Xinyuan cave mansion with ease. Now, Lin Yi had a rough idea of what was going on. The Xinyuan cave mansion didn't exist since ancient times, but was built later. Moreover, according to Zhao Yazi, the 5-year promise seemed to be specially prepared for Lin Yi. Lin Yi's heart was full of suspicions. Ever since old Lin kicked him off the cliff, he seemed to have walked into a path that someone had planned for him. Every step he took was controlled by that person. Who was the one who had planned all of this? Of course, that person obviously didn't mean any harm. In fact, he was full of kindness. After all, Lin Yi had all the benefits. Although Lin Yi didn't have a good sect background and didn't have a large amount of treasures for cultivation, it could be said that the Jade Space and the Xinyuan Cave Mansion were enough to make up for the difference. Otherwise, how would Lin Yi be able to step on all the opponents who were stronger than him? This was enough to prove that the things in the Xinyuan Cave Mansion were very powerful. They weren't any weaker than the top inheritances of the ancient sections. No matter how strong Zhang Naipeo was, he was still restrained in the end. And so, Lin Yi admired the person who built the Xinyuan Cave Mansion. He didn't know why this person would help him, and what was the relationship between him and him. After building the Xinyuan Cave Mansion, why didn't he show up? Old Lin probably knew about all of this, or at least part of it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have kicked Lin Yi down. Now that old Lin didn't want to say anything, Lin Yi could only guess in his heart. It wasn't nighttime yet. The last time Lin Yi came here, he had tested it. The stone door couldn't be opened before nighttime, but this time, Lin Yi didn't know if it was possible. The third stone door didn't have a full moon, but the night didn't have to be a full moon. So, Lin Yi went up and tried again. Unfortunately, the stone door didn't open. It seemed that even if a full moon wasn't needed, a normal night was still needed. Night was a prerequisite for opening the stone door. This was also within Lin Yi's expectations, but Lin Yi couldn't be sure without testing it. Since it was still early, Lin Yi calmed down and sat cross-legged at the entrance of the cave. He began to condense the forging fire, slowly waiting for the night to fall. Lin Yi had basically reached a bottleneck on his path of cultivation. The early stage of the Heaven Realm had been completely stabilized, and he was just waiting for an opportunity to advance to the peak of the early stage of the Heaven Realm. It wasn't easy to break through to the peak of the early stage of the Heaven Realm unless Lin Yi had a chi-gathering pill or touched the bottleneck in battle. This was also why many cultivators didn't have the opportunity to break through in battle and could only choose to cultivate in seclusion to find an opportunity. Of course, there were some cultivators who kept taking chi-gathering pills until they reached the peak of the late stage of the Heaven Realm. But then they wouldn't have any more pills to take, and they wouldn't be able to cultivate on their own. This was equivalent to losing the opportunity to advance to the heavenly way. Although the chance of advancing to the heavenly way sounded very slim, many practitioners still held a glimmer of hope for it. They would not take chi-gathering pills if they could. Besides, other than the heavenly elixir sect, which sect would have too many chi-gathering pills? Slowly, the night fell. Lin Yi put away the forging fire in his hand and looked up at the dark blue night sky. The moon wasn't a full moon, but a crescent moon. Lin Yi stood up and walked towards the direction of the cave. He stopped in front of the stone door in front of the cave and slowly placed his hand on the stone door. He then began to circulate the art of dragon mastery. With his previous experience, Lin Yi was familiar with the process. The stone door recognized its master and slowly rose, revealing the Xinyuan cave mansion inside. The scene inside the stone door was almost the same as the last time Lin Yi came. Lin Yi didn't stay for long and went straight to the second stone door at the back of the hall. The last time Lin Yi opened this stone door, it really wasted a lot of energy. The stone door made the physical strength and vital chi in his body go through a big cycle. But this time, Lin Yi had experience. He calmly placed his hand on the second stone door and then began to circulate the art of dragon mastery. But this time, what surprised Lin Yi was that the vital chi in his body wasn't automatically sucked into the stone door to complete a cycle like the last time. Instead, just like the first stone door, Lin Yi circulated the mantra and the stone door slowly opened. Once the stone door opened, Lin Yi and the space in the jade pendant naturally re-established a connection. Seeing the scene in front of him, Lin Yi couldn't help but ask, "Jiao Lao, this second stone door is completely different from the last time?" Chapter 3006. Summoning Monthly Ticket. Today is the third update. There will be more updates tomorrow. So that's how it is. Then in front of the third stone door, is there a corresponding test? Lin Yi quickly asked after listening. Of course. Zhao Yazi said, it should be similar to the last time. I understand. Lin Yi nodded. He was confident in his heart. He quickly walked into the second stone door, bypassed the high platform, and came to the front of the third stone door. He saw the words on the stone tablet next to the stone door. You can open the stone door after you have achieved the second level of the divine art. Now, Lin Yi had advanced to the second level of the art of dragon mastery. There should be no problem opening the stone door. Lin Yi placed his hand on the third stone door and activated the second level of the art of dragon mastery. Just like the last time, at this moment, all the chi in Lin Yi's body was mobilized, and his art of dragon mastery was automatically forced to the second level of the art of dragon mastery. At this time, there was no need for Lin Yi to activate the mental cultivation method. The mental cultivation method was running on its own, and the energy in Lin Yi's body was slowly injected into the stone door through his palm. However, with the experience of opening the second stone door, Lin Yi did not panic at all. Instead, he faced everything in front of him calmly. As time passed, the chi in Lin Yi's body became less and less, and finally, all of it entered the stone door. Then, the energy that entered the stone door flowed back into Lin Yi's body again. Unsurprisingly, the energy this time was purer than in Lin Yi's body. The stone door once again helped Lin Yi to complete the filtration, and then, the energy flowed back into the stone door, back and forth. Finally, the third stone door suddenly made a rumbling sound, and the energy flow between Lin Yi and the stone door stopped, and the stone door began to rise slowly. Phew! Lin Yi let out a long breath. It seemed that the third stone door was opened in the same way as the second stone door. Kid Lin, what are you waiting for? It's almost daybreak. Why don't you go in and see what's inside? Elder Jiao's voice rang in Lin Yi's ear just as he was catching his breath. Lin Yi snapped out of his daze and turned around. He didn't know when, but the sky was already turning white. This time, it took longer than the last time because the second level of the art of dragon mastery had more energy than the first, so Lin Yi was pressed for time. It's already so tense this time. Won't it be daybreak next time? Lin Yi was startled and hurriedly asked, if there is a stone door at the peak of the third layer, will I be trapped for 5 years? 5 years? There's no need for that. The 5-year promise is long gone. You just need to wait for a day. At night, You can use the same method to open the door. Zhao Yazi said, "That's good." Lin Yi let out a sigh of relief. If he had to wait for 5 years, wouldn't he be waiting for death? Who knew what would happen at home? Behind the third stone door, there was still no grand hall like the first stone door. Similar to the second stone door, it was a very simple room. There was still no light source in the room, but it was still as bright as day. However, Lin Yi was already used to it. In front of the stone room, there was still a small platform. On top of the platform, there was still a small antique box. Other than that, there was nothing in the third stone door. This made Lin Yi extremely disappointed. Lin Yi was already a heaven rank expert. He used to dream of obtaining a powerful heaven rank divine weapon behind the third stone door. But now, other than a box, there was nothing else. How could a divine weapon be stored in such a small box? Thinking about it, it wouldn't be able to fit it in. Lin Yi walked towards the platform with flagging interest and took down the antique box. The small box was light as a feather, similar to the previous one. This made Lin Yi even more disappointed. It seemed that other than the mantra, there wouldn't be anything else inside. "There's no divine weapon here?" Lin Yi asked Zhao Yazi in disappointment. "If there is, then there is. If there isn't, then there isn't. What you see is what you get." Zhao Yazi seemed like he didn't know what was behind the stone door, so he said something ambiguous. Lin Yi was speechless. But since he was here, it was always good to have something. Lin Yi could only place his hopes on the fourth stone door. Because in the third stone room, Lin Yi saw the fourth stone door. Perhaps this stone room was set up according to the sky, earth, black, and yellow. It was just that he came in 5 years late, so his strength and mantra weren't in sync. Or could it be that in theory, the third stage of the art of dragon mastery was the real mantra that complemented the earth-class mantra? Lin Yi couldn't figure it out. Because every mantra and mantra was linked to different levels of strength, there was no reference. Lin Yi didn't know if his guess was correct. When he came to the front of the fourth stone door, there was another stone tablet. As Lin Yi expected, there was a sentence carved in seal script on it. Third stage perfection, weapon in hand. Use the weapon to hit the door to enter. What? Weapon in hand? Lin Yi was stunned. Wasn't this a trap? Where did the weapon come from? There was only a small box behind the third stone door. It probably contained the mantra. Where could he get a divine weapon? Could it be that the fourth stone door could be opened by simply hitting the door with a heaven-class weapon? It wasn't a very reliable guess, but no matter how he thought about it, he really didn't know where he could get his hands on a divine weapon. Seeing that the sky was about to brighten, Lin Yi didn't stay any longer. He went straight out of the stone door and came to the entrance of the cave. At this moment, the sky had just brightened. Lin Yi waited until the stone door was completely closed before he left and walked towards the village. This time, Lin Yi came back in a low-key manner. The people in the village didn't know. It was already dawn now. If Lin Yi directly went down the mountain with a small box empty-handed, it would inevitably arouse suspicion. Although the Xinyuan cave mansion was at the foot of the other side of the West Star Mountain and the possibility of being discovered was not high, Lin Yi still decided to hunt a beast on the mountain for caution. Otherwise, Lin Yi's inexplicable return to the West Star Mountain village, and the first thing he did was to go up the mountain instead of going home. Chapter 3007. Begging for monthly tickets. Thank you, readers, for your great support. Thank you, readers who read and started the novel by hand. Thank you for your monthly tickets and tips. However, when Lin Yi just entered the mountain range, his face changed slightly and became incomparably dignified. Because Lin Yi felt the aura of a cultivator in the mountain range. It was the fluctuation of true energy. The perception of Heaven Stage was really extraordinary. If it was the previous Lin Yi, he definitely wouldn't have such a great ability. But since he set foot in Heaven Stage, even if he was just an expert in the early stage of Heaven Stage, Lin Yi's perception of the outside world was extremely strong. Moreover, according to Lin Yi's perception, this true energy fluctuation wasn't just from one person. It should be from 2 to 3 people. Lin Yi subconsciously converged his own aura, so that he didn't even have the aura of an ordinary person. He hesitated slightly in his heart. Should he go and see what was going on? After all, the appearance of cultivators here didn't seem to have much to do with Lin Yi at first glance. But on second thought, this was West Star Mountain Village. How could there be cultivators in West Star Mountain Village? This place was remote. There weren't even tourists here. Where did the cultivators come from? Why did this cultivator come? What was he doing here? Lin Yi couldn't figure it out at all. But since he couldn't figure it out, it was even more suspicious. So, after hesitating for a moment, Lin Yi still walked forward. The cultivators here were probably coming for him. Otherwise, Lin Yi really couldn't find any other reason. The aura of the cultivators was getting closer and closer. Lin Yi could be sure that there were a total of 3 cultivators in front of him. Moreover, their strength levels weren't low. One of them was an expert at the peak of the early stage of Heaven stage, and the other 2 were actually experts at the peak of the late stage of Heaven stage. At this distance, Lin Yi could already sense their strength, because all of them were unleashing their full power without holding anything back. What surprised Lin Yi was that these 3 people didn't seem to be a group because they were fighting. What was going on? Lin Yi felt even more strange. It seemed that these 3 cultivators didn't come to find him, but why did they come here to fight? Should I go or not? What made Lin Yi hesitate was that the other side had 2 peak late-stage heaven-rank powerhouses. It wasn't easy to meddle in the affairs of heaven-rank powerhouses. Lin Yi didn't want to get involved in other people's business. However, if he didn't know the background of these 3 people, Lin Yi wouldn't be at ease. These 3 people suddenly came to the West Star Mountain Village. Even if they didn't come for Lin Yi would at least have to be on guard, right? Just as he was hesitating, he suddenly heard one of them shout, "Sixth brother, I can't hold on any longer." This old madman suddenly stopped being crazy. How did he become so powerful? The person who was called Sixth brother was also secretly complaining. This old madman suddenly stopped being crazy. Even he couldn't hold on any longer. He didn't know where this old thing got 2 incomparably overbearing heaven-rank weapons. Even an expert of the same level like him couldn't withstand it. Let's hold on for a while. This old thing is intermittent. I don't believe that he isn't crazy. The person called Sixth brother said while gritting his teeth. Okay. After the previous person heard it, he also gritted his teeth and said, I don't know if old 7 has recovered. He fell behind after being smashed by this old thing's axe. Old 7 has the great recover pill in hand. There shouldn't be a problem. Sixth brother said. Why were these 2 voices so familiar? Lin Yi frowned slightly. He seemed to have heard it somewhere. It seemed that they should be his acquaintances. But among his acquaintances, where was there an expert with the strength of peak late-stage heaven rank? Except for the heaven rank strange man. Yes. Could the old madman they were talking about be the heaven rank strange man? And when Lin Yi thought of the heaven rank strange man, he suddenly thought of the 2 people related to him, Old 6 and Old 12. Now it seemed that these 2 people should be from the 5-element sect. They were the subordinates of Ancestor Shinshin. They were brothers with Little 1 and Little 11. Could it be that they found the heaven-rank strange man and were besieging him? Last time, Lin Yi was in the Wulong Haut mountain range. He used an inescapable net to luckily escape from Old 12's pursuit. At that time, Old 12 was an expert with the strength of peak early-stage heaven rank. How high was he to Lin Yi? However, now that Lin Yi was an expert at the heaven rank early stage, he wouldn't be in such a sorry state when facing Old 12 again. Thinking that the person they were besieging might be the heaven rank strange man, Lin Yi no longer hesitated and ran over in a few steps. When Lin Yi got closer to take a look, his guess was right. The 3 people on the other side were the heaven rank strange man, Old 6 and Old 12. He saw that the divine weapon in the hands of the strange man had changed from the black iron rod last time to 2 huge battle axes. What surprised Lin Yi was that this time, the strange man didn't seem to be crazy, because when he used the battle axes, he was quite methodical and could bring out the greatest power of the battle axes. On the other side, Old 6 and Old 12 were 2 against 1. Under the attack of the battle axes, they didn't have any advantage and were at a disadvantage. However, Lin Yi could also see that although they were at a disadvantage, it was impossible for the strange man to kill Old 6 and Old 12. The two of them were only slightly inferior. Moreover, the two of them had a tacit understanding. When one of them was in danger, the other could quickly protect him. This made the strange man's attacks fail again and again. At the very least, it shouldn't be a problem for Old 6 and Old 12 to hold on for 3 to 5 days. In the end, everyone would probably run out of true chi and scatter. Lin Yi was full of hatred for the people of the Five Elements sect. Old 6 and Old 12 were also his enemies. Although his hatred wasn't as big as Little 1 and Little 11, Lin Yi still had to take revenge for being chased by Old 12 like a dead dog. Thinking of this, Lin Yi directly shouted, "Master, I'm here to help you." Then he rushed over. Lin Yi was now an expert in the early stage of heaven rank. When he came nearby, he hid his strength. The strange man, Old 6, and Old 12 did not notice Lin Yi's arrival. But when Lin Yi shouted, it shocked them. Lin Yi, Old 6, and Old 12 were shocked. They quickly raised their heads to look at Lin Yi and immediately recognized him. As for Old 6 and Old 12, they had the same thought at the same time, and that was that today's situation was hopeless. The two of them were already having trouble dealing with the heaven-class monster, and if Lin Yi was added to the mix, then they would probably fall into the monster's trap. Chapter 3008. However, they were afraid that while dealing with the strange man, Lin Yi would make a sneak attack from the side. With such a distraction, the strange man would have a chance to take advantage of them. Thus, the two of them decided to retreat and planned to take advantage of the heaven rank eccentric's distraction to run away. The strange man turned around and looked at Lin Yi. His eyes flashed with a trace of confusion. Then, his whole body became a little sluggish, and his eyes no longer had the shrewdness from before. He suddenly shouted, "Good, Lear, you're here. The two of us, master and disciple, will get rid of these two bastards together." Seeing the strange man's expression and reaction, Lin Yi secretly cursed in his heart. How could he have thought that he just called him master, and the strange man became stupid again, without the shrewdness from before? If the strange man was as powerful as before, Lin Yi and him should have no problem killing Old 6 and Old 12. But now, Old 6 and Old 12 were about to escape, but suddenly heard the strange man's words. They were stunned, but when they saw the strange man's appearance, they immediately became happy. Crazy. Crazy again. Wahahaha. 12th started laughing all of a sudden. 6th bro, this old thing's crazy. Haha, that kid Lin Yi called him master, and he turned into an idiot. Yes, Lin Yi, thank you very much. It was quite difficult for us to deal with this old thing, but I didn't expect you to come and help us a lot. Old 6 also said happily, "Don't worry, I will thank you properly. After I take care of this crazy old man, I will send you to accompany him." "Master, how are you?" Lin Yi ran to the crazy old man with great concern, but Old 6 and Old 12 did not stop him. In their opinion, Lin Yi did not escape, but ran to see the crazy old man's situation. It was undoubtedly an act of courting death. If Lin Yi ran now, it might take them some time to kill the crazy old man, and they would not be able to find Lin Yi at that time. But Lin Yi actually took the initiative to die. 6th brother, it looks like this kid wants to die with us. Then we won't hold back. 12th's words stopped abruptly at this point, because he noticed to his surprise that a palm had suddenly pressed against his chest. Wildfire 8 trigram palm, 8th form. Lin Yi's body that was originally running to the strange man made an incredible turn. Old 6 and Old 12 did not even see how Lin Yi turned around and walked over, and his palm had already pressed on Old 12's chest. Boom, followed by a loud bang. Old 12's whole body flew out. At the same time, blood spurted out of his mouth, and a huge dent could be seen on his chest. His whole body directly fell on a tree trunk not far away, and then lay straight on the ground, lifeless. Lin Yi did not urge the 9th form, because once the 9th form was activated, it would consume all of Lin Yi's physical strength and chi, and Old 12 was just an early-stage heaven rank master. Although Old 12 came from the Five Elements sect and was stronger than ordinary early-stage heaven rank masters, But Lin Yi's 8th form could even kill a middle-stage heaven rank master from the everyday and everyday sect. Killing old 12 should not be a problem. Now it seemed that Lin Yi's judgment was indeed correct. Old 12 undoubtedly died, and Lin Yi still retained at least half of his physical strength and qi. The reason why he chose old 12 was also because old 6 was too strong. With the strength of the peak late-stage heaven rank, Lin Yi did not even try to know that it was impossible to kill him, so it was better to pick a soft persimmon and find someone who could be killed in one go. When old 12 died, only old 6 was left. With the strange man in heaven rank and Lin Yi's help, he should be able to deal with it. Impossible. How is it possible? You are an early-stage heaven rank master? Old 6 looked at Lin Yi, shocked and angry. Lin Yi was actually an early-stage heaven rank master? How could he not know? But it was no wonder. The news of Lin Yi's breakthrough had just spread out, and he and old 12 had been chasing the strange man in heaven rank for almost half a month, from the territory of the Five Elements sect to the West Star Mountain. During this period, the strange man in heaven rank was sometimes good and sometimes bad, sometimes crazy and sometimes sober, so it dragged on. No one could defeat the other. They chased for a while and fought for a while, but fortunately, when they chased here, they had already figured out the strange man's fighting style. Waiting for him to go crazy, they could take him down in one fell swoop. But who would have thought that Lin Yi would appear out of nowhere? And Lin Yi was actually an early-stage heaven rank master. Of course, what puzzled old 6 the most was that even if Lin Yi was in the early-stage heaven rank, old 12 was at the peak of the early-stage heaven rank, and the disciples of the Five Elements sect were often stronger than other cultivators of the same level. But it seemed that this was not the case. Lin Yi was actually stronger than old 12? Moreover, what was most inconceivable was Lin Yi's Qinggong just now. Even the speed of a heaven rank master couldn't be that fast, right? A moment ago, he was still standing in front of the strange man, and the next moment, he directly teleported in front of old 12 and sent him flying with a palm? Was this footwork a new type of martial art specially used for sneak attacks? However, the strange man didn't give old 6 the time to ask. Although he was crazy, the two axes in his hands didn't stop. They swung in the air like a tiger and smashed towards old 6's face. Old thing, you're courting death. Old 6 didn't get to ask why, but instead suffered a fierce attack from the strange man. He was so angry that he raised the ruler in his hand and smashed it towards the strange man's head. This was his heaven rank weapon, and old 12's heaven rank weapon was a black token. Although Lin Yi didn't know what it was, he had already coveted it and was ready to secretly pick it up later. The heaven rank eccentric didn't dodge and directly swung his two axes at old 6. These two axes were much longer than the ruler, so old 6 was startled and quickly dodged. The ruler was also taken back by him. He had no choice but to dodge. If he didn't dodge, the strange man's axe would smash towards him. Wouldn't his head be directly split open? It must be known that although the strange man was now in a crazy state, his strength hadn't decreased. He just didn't have any method to fight the enemy, so he fought randomly. Chapter 3009. Summon, monthly ticket. There will be more updates tonight. Originally, it should have been easy to deal with the crazy heaven ranker, but now it had become extremely difficult. Otherwise, he and 12th brother would have killed the heaven ranker long ago. Why would they wait until now? And they had finally found a flaw in the heaven ranker. When he was awake, there was a blind spot that he couldn't take care of. This was also the reason why when one person was in danger, the other person could help him escape. Because once the other person attacked from the position of the flaw, the heaven ranker had to protect himself. Thus, when the heaven rank eccentric went berserk, one person attacked from the front while the other attacked from an opening. The heaven rank eccentric wasn't clear-headed and simply didn't have time to think about it, so it was very likely that he would be killed. But now that there was one less person, it was difficult to implement this plan. 6th brother could only brace himself and fight against the heaven ranker. Fortunately, this person was relatively stupid now, so 6th brother could barely gain the upper hand, but it was impossible to eliminate him. Lin Yi watched the battle between 6th brother and the heaven ranker. From the current situation, The Heaven Ranker couldn't do anything to Sixth Brother because Sixth Brother was not stupid and dodged very quickly. Moreover, the Heaven Ranker was attacking randomly, so he couldn't hit Sixth Brother at all. Several times, the Heaven Ranker's battle axe was easily dodged by Sixth Brother, which made Lin Yi secretly feel pity. At the same time, Lin Yi was also thinking about how to help the Heaven Ranker kill Sixth Brother. If Sixth Brother escaped today, then Lin Yi was afraid that there would be endless troubles in the future. Although Boss Bai and Ancestor Xianqian had an agreement, that was also under the premise of mutual non-aggression. Now that Lin Yi had killed 12th Brother, Sixth Brother could go back and tell Ancestor Xianqian. Ancestor Xianqian would have enough reason to send people to kill him, who asked him to kill someone else first. If Old 6 and Old 12 came to find trouble with Lin Yi first and were killed by Lin Yi, Patriarch Xianqian could only swallow his broken teeth. If he wanted to find Lin Yi for revenge, Boss Bai would definitely not agree, because he was in the wrong. But now, Old 12 was dead. Although Lin Yi was helping the Heaven-ranked weirdo, essentially, Lin Yi had nothing to do with the Heaven-ranked weirdo. As long as Patriarch Xianqian insisted on this, he would attack Lin Yi, and Boss Bai would be helpless. To put it bluntly, many things in the ancient times needed a reason that everyone could live with. With a reason, there was nothing to worry about. However, no matter how Lin Yi thought about it, he couldn't think of a way to deal with Old 6. The true Qi bomb had been compressed for too long, and Lin Yi couldn't guarantee that the true Qi bomb would have an effect on Old 6. After all, Old 6 was a peak late-stage Heaven Stage Master. It was hard to say if Lin Yi's true Qi bomb could cause any harm to him. As for the Frenzy 8 Trigram Fire Palm, even if Lin Yi used the 9th form, it shouldn't have any effect on Old 6. After all, the 9th form could kill a peak mid-stage Heaven Stage Master in an instant. It was unknown whether it could seriously injure a peak late-stage Heaven Stage Master, let alone a peak late-stage Heaven Stage Master. After thinking about it, Lin Yi's brain was working at full speed, constantly recalling the experiences he had when he fought enemies above his level. However, it didn't seem to be applicable, because the highest level masters Lin Yi fought against were Zhang Naipeo's two subordinates, Imoba and Emojia, mid-stage Heaven Stage Masters. Suddenly, Lin Yi had a flash of inspiration, thinking of Zhang Naipeo. Lin Yi suddenly thought of Zhang Naipeo's heaven-defying skill, Dark Demon of Hell Fist, and after Lin Yi's modification, the Dark Demon of Hell Fist became the Raging Inferno Fist. Although the power of the Raging Inferno Fist was not as strong as the Dark Demon of Hell Fist, it could also make people fall into an illusion. Zhang Naipeo was like this back then, unable to extricate himself from the illusion. However, this Dark Demon of Hell Fist also had a shortcoming, and that was, the effect was not very obvious for high-level practitioners. Some strong-willed people could quickly recover from the illusion, but it was also possible that there was no effect at all. But no matter what, since Lin Yi thought of this move, he could only give it a try. If this move didn't work, Lin Yi could only waste his last inescapable net to trap Old 6, and then let the Heaven Stage monster directly smash Old 6 to death with his axe. Thinking of this, Lin Yi activated the mantra of the Raging Inferno Fist, and then according to the method of the Dark Demon of Hell Fist, suddenly made a move, punching towards Old 6's head, and shouted, "Raging Inferno Fist." Old 6 was nervously dealing with the Heaven Stage monster, and when Lin Yi made his move, he also chose the right time, just as the Heaven Stage monster swung his axe, and the moment Old 6 hurriedly used the ruler to block, Lin Yi's Raging Inferno Fist was also activated. A stream of vital energy shot into Old 6's head, and then Old 6 roared fiercely, his eyes showing a look of incomparable horror. He suddenly felt that he was in a sea of fire, and the sea of fire was chasing after him and was about to burn him. Old 6 was shocked and subconsciously turned around to run away. However, after all, he was an expert at the peak of the late stage of Heaven Stage, and also a disciple of the Five Element sect, so his willpower was not ordinary. If it wasn't because he was dealing with the Heaven Stage monster's attack and didn't pay attention to Lin Yi's martial arts, he wouldn't have let Lin Yi so easily. Therefore, after just a moment of illusion, Old 6 roared again, broke through the illusion, and successfully escaped from the sea of fire. However, He was very shocked in his heart. Lin Yi actually had the ability to create illusions for others? What kind of martial arts was this? However, after Old Six opened his eyes, he saw two battle axes falling from the sky, smashing towards his head. This was the last scene he saw after he woke up. Then, Old Six's head directly burst open, and he collapsed on the ground, turning into a bloody gourd. Although it was only a moment of confusion, it was only a few seconds from when Old Six was hit by the raging inferno fist to when he woke up. But these few seconds were enough for the Heaven Stage Monster's battle axe to smash Old Six's head. Although the Heaven Stage Monster was smashing randomly, his strength was still there, and Old Six had just woken up, so he didn't have time to defend or dodge, and his head was smashed open like a watermelon. Old Six's death could be said to be very unjust. If the Heaven Stage Monster was in a sober state, he would have accepted it, but he was in a crazy state and could still be beaten to death. He died with his eyes open. However, his eyes were already gone. They were smashed into pieces. Chapter 3010. Updated at midnight. Summon. Monthly ticket. After Lin Yi used the Raging Hellfire Fist, his physical strength and true chi were instantly drained, and he slumped to the ground. On the other hand, the strange man was full of energy at the moment. After killing Old Six, he didn't feel tired at all. The enemy was killed by us, master and disciple. I'll leave this thing with you first. I helped you steal it from the enemy's base camp. Take a look at it first. I'm hungry. I'll go find something to eat. After saying that, the strange man took out a bamboo scroll from his bosom and threw it in front of Lin Yi. Then, without waiting for Lin Yi to speak, he turned around and ran into the depths of the mountains. Master, Lin Yi quickly called out, but the man didn't pay attention to him as he walked away until he was out of sight. Lin Yi didn't even have the strength to stand up and chase after him. He could only helplessly watch the strange man leave. With Lin Yi's past experience, the strange man had left. He probably wouldn't be able to come back. The next time they met would be uncertain. Lin Yi wanted to wait for the Heaven-class monster to wake up and ask him how he pissed off Old Six and Old 12, how they chased him all the way here, and what was this bamboo scroll he gave him. But all these questions, Lin Yi could only put them in his heart. He could only wait for the next time they met to ask. After putting the bamboo scroll away, Lin Yi didn't look at it directly. Instead, he quickly entered the space of the Jade Pendant and ran the second level of the Art of Dragon Mastery to restore his lost physical strength and true chi. Although the enemy had been dealt with, Lin Yi was afraid of any unforeseen events, so restoring his strength was the first priority. And this bamboo scroll could be looked at any time. There was no hurry. It wouldn't be too late to look at it when his strength was restored. However, just as Lin Yi was sitting cross-legged on the ground and running the Art of Dragon Mastery to restore his physical strength and true chi, footsteps came from not far away. This made Lin Yi a little surprised. Could it be that the strange man really came back? Of course, it didn't matter if it was the strange man, but Lin Yi was afraid that other people would pass by, such as the villagers of West Star Village. Would they be scared when they saw the two corpses on the ground? However, Lin Yi really didn't have the strength to deal with the two corpses now. He could only brace himself and continue to restore his physical strength and true chi. If there were really villagers passing by, Lin Yi could only make up a random reason. The footsteps came from afar, but after Lin Yi heard it clearly, his face showed a relaxed expression. Because the footsteps were very familiar to Lin Yi. It was Erguden, and Lin Yi relaxed and let the footsteps come closer. Erguden came to West Star Village to hunt this morning. After having a family, Erguden had to work harder to earn money to support his family. So, coming to West Star Village to hunt every morning had become his job. But today, Erguden sensed an unusual scent in this mountain range. It was the smell of blood. Could it be that there were beasts fighting here? Erguden wasn't afraid. He ran over with the mentality of watching a show. But when he saw the scene in front of him, he froze. Boss, why are you here? Erguden really didn't think that he would meet Lin Yi in Donghai City while hunting. When he saw the two corpses not far away, he was even more surprised. Who are these two corpses? Erguden, You came at the right time. I'm restoring my physical strength and pure chi. Help me patrol the area. Other than a crazy man with messy hair and 2 battle axes, don't let anyone near here. Lin Yi didn't have time to explain things to Gooden. Okay. Gooden didn't even think about it, nodding and disappearing into the nearby forest, patrolling back and forth. Lin Yi, on the other hand, continued to use the second stage of the art of dragon mastery to quickly recover his physical strength. Old 7, who was also the person that Old 6 was talking about, had been hit by the heaven-ranked monster's battle axe when he was still conscious and was seriously injured. He had no choice but to sit on the ground to heal while Old 6 and Old 12 chased after the heaven-ranked monster. But as Old 6 and Old 12 chased after him, they left some special marks of the 5 elements secked on the ground, and so Old 7 chased after them. Gooden patrolled and hunted at the same time, and in the blink of an eye, he had a wild boar on his back. There were a lot of wild boars here, and he could kill one easily. Of course, this was in the mountains, and not many people dared to go into the mountains alone. There were a lot of wild animals in the mountains, but there were also a lot of dangers. Leopards, wolves, and other things often appeared. In the distance, there were footsteps, and Gooden became alert. He hunted every day, and he could even recognize the footsteps of all kinds of beasts. The footsteps today definitely didn't belong to a beast, but a person. Although Gooden was alert, he didn't show it on the surface. He looked like a harmless village boy. Soon, the footsteps got nearer, and a man wearing a black bagua robe that looked like an old man, but he looked like he was only in his 30s. Gooden looked at him. He didn't have an axe in his hand, and only had a sword by his waist. Evidently, he wasn't the crazy man with the axe that Linny said. And so, Gooden's face showed a surprised expression. This person was naturally Old 7. He chased all the way to Star West Mountain, and he didn't see Old 6, Old 12, or the heaven-class weirdo. Instead, he saw a village boy. Old 7 looked at Gooden attentively. He was wearing rough clothes, and he had a wild boar on his back. This was definitely a hunter nearby, and so he didn't have his guard up. He walked over and asked directly, "Kid, you're hunting here?" "Yeah." "Old Grandpa." "Oh no, Uncle, where are you from? How come I don't know you?" Gooden asked honestly. "I'm here to look for someone. I'm not a local. Let me ask you something. When you were hunting here, did you see 3 people? 2 of them were dressed like me, and the other one was an old man with 2 big axes in his hands. 7 chased them here, but didn't find any clues left by 12 and 6, so he asked Gooden." Chapter 30:11. Continue summoning monthly tickets. Thank you everyone for your support. 2 people who are dressed like you? And an old man with 2 big axes? Gooden remembered it right away. The 2 dead men beside Lin Yi, weren't they dressed the same as this guy? Gooden didn't notice it at the time, but now that 7 reminded him, it seemed like this person was with those 2. He was probably the enemy of that crazy axe old man. But, to confirm his guess, Gooden asked dumbly, "Is it a crazy old man with an axe? Are they fighting?" Yes. The 2 men in the same attire are from the same gang, and the crazy old man with the battle axe is from the same gang. Do you see them? Where are they? Old 7 quickly nodded, thinking that the country boy in front of him had indeed seen them. Let me think which direction they went. Gooden scratched his head, acting like he was in deep thought. Yes, think about it. Old 7 said quickly. They're going there. Gooden pointed with his left hand and punched with his right, while 7 was turning his head to look. Bam! With a loud bang, Old 7 directly flew into the sky like a flying man. Ah! The 7th brother screamed in agony. His eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. He didn't think that a village boy who was hunting here would attack him without any warning, and with such strength. 7th felt as if his organs were about to explode. This was his last thought before he fell to the ground heavily, dying a wrongful death. He didn't understand why Gooden wanted to kill him, even when he died. Furthermore, how could a village boy possess such extraordinary strength? What was going on? He was a sky-class late phase peak. In actuality, Old Seven's death was quite unjustified. He didn't have his guard up against Gooden at all. Think about it, this was a local village boy hunting here, and he had no grudges with Old Seven. They hadn't even met before, so why would he suddenly kill him? Plus, Seven was a sky-class late-phase peak. Even if this village boy attacked him, he wouldn't be able to do anything to him, right? This was one of the things Seven didn't guard against. But Gooden just did it, and it wasn't a normal assassin. He sent Seven straight to heaven. All right, you'll see those two soon, Gooden said honestly to Seven's corpse. Gooden was an honest guy, but he wasn't stupid. Seven's two friends were dead, and his two friends were enemies of the axe-wielding freak. Linny even said that he was allowed to get close. So didn't that mean that Linny was on the freak side? And so, Gooden killed Seven so that he wouldn't disturb Linny's training. After killing Seven, Gooden continued patrolling nearby. Lin-Yi, who wasn't far away, didn't expect that Gooden had just killed a sky-class late-phase peak from the Five Elements sect. Although Linny heard some fighting sounds, he thought that Gooden was hunting. After all, Six didn't make things clear, and Linny didn't expect that there would be someone chasing after him. If he knew, Lin-Yi would have told Gooden to carry him back. After killing Seven, Gooden didn't bother Lin-Yi. He patrolled around the area to see if anyone else was coming, but other than Seven, no one else came. He waited until noon when Linny called him. Gooden dragged Seven's corpse to Lin-Yi's side. Seeing the corpse in Gooden's hands, Linny jumped. Gooden, who is this? How come there's another corpse? Boss, this is the person I killed. He's the accomplice of the two dead people. Gooden said, before, when I was patrolling there, I met him. He asked me about the two people who were dressed like him and about the sky-class madman with a battle axe. I was afraid that he would come to trouble me, so I killed him with one punch. You killed him just like that? Linny knew about Gooden's strength, but he died just like that. Lin-Yi still felt sorry for the Five Elements sect. He probably didn't even know how he died. I wonder what kind of expert he is. But he couldn't be weak. He had a sword on his waist. It should be his sky-class weapon. This person was at least a sky-class early phase. However, Lin-Yi suddenly remembered what Old 6 and Old 12 had said. They mentioned Old 7, so this person should be the Old 7 that would come later. Old 6 was a sky-class late phase peak, so this person couldn't be weak either. He was at least sky-class late phase, or maybe he was also sky-class late phase peak. He died a horrible death, but Lin-Yi was very scared. If Gooden didn't come, he wouldn't be able to fight Seven when he recovered his chi and the sky-class freak wasn't there. Plus, even if he didn't recover his chi, he wouldn't be able to fight Seven. You hit him, and he didn't fight back? Linny asked quickly. No, I lied to him. Gooden told the situation to Linny, and Lin-Yi couldn't help but laugh. This Seven was really unlucky. In his eyes, a weak village kid suddenly became a tiger. Gooden, you were really lucky. If you didn't lie to him, no one would be able to save you if he hit you. Linny said. Yes, so I had to outsmart him. Gooden nodded. Mayu Yuanyu and said that I shouldn't always use brute force. I should use my brain. Haha. Linny couldn't help but laugh. Let's clean up and go back. Don't tell anyone about what happened today. Boss, don't worry. Yuan and I won't tell anyone about this. Gooden nodded. Lin-Yi searched the three corpses on the ground. He didn't expect them to be poor bastards. Other than 3 sky-class weapons, there was nothing else. There was a small box on the 7th brother's body. It was an antique box that was used to store pills, but it was empty. It could be assumed that after the 7th brother was injured by the strange heaven rank man, he used the 3rd grade great cyclic pill to recover. Chapter 30:12. Before, Linny was worried about his sky class, but now he could open an armory. With the water element sky class he got from Snowy Valley, the ice element sky class from Zhongliju's tomb, and the gale lightning boots he got from the assassins, Linny had a total of 6 sky class weapons. Of course, Linny didn't know if there were any that he could use. Every sky class weapon had its own practitioner's arts to bring out its full potential, but Lin-Yi didn't have any of them right now. He could only go back and think of something. Gooden had already finished his hunting. He had a wild boar, a deer, and 2 pheasants on his shoulders. It was a full hall, and the two walked down the mountain. The morning in the village was bustling. The villagers liked to sleep early and wake up early. This was their life. Every morning, when the rooster crowed, they got up to work. Now, they had set up a small business at the entrance of the village. People in the mountain village also had the habit of going to the market in the morning. Even if there was no big market, the small market at the entrance of the village still made them very happy every morning. Gooden, you're back from hunting? What's the good game today? Let Uncle Wong choose first. Uncle Wong was in charge of the banquets in the village. Whoever had a wedding or a funeral, he would be in charge of the banquet. There weren't many big restaurants in the village, and every family would either have to cook or invite people to hold a banquet. Uncle Wong would go back and forth between the villages, doing the banquet business. These years, the villagers were getting rich, and so spending money to invite people to hold a banquet became a custom. Uncle Wong would often buy some game from Gooden, and when he held a banquet, he would put it on the important seats, like the elders, the head of the family, or the parents' table, to show how special they were. It's still wild boar, deer, and pheasant. Which one do you want, Uncle Wong? Gooden didn't hunt those rare animals under Yuan's influence. He only hunted some normal animals to sell. It wasn't as profitable as those rare animals, but it was enough to feed his family. Isn't this Lily? You're back? Uncle Wong also knew Lin Yi. He was also an old man in the village. He was the younger brother of Widow Wong, who owned the grocery store at the entrance of the village. Uncle Wong, I came back to see my grandpa. Your business seems to be doing well. Linny greeted Uncle Wong with a smile. Haha, not bad, not bad. Uncle Wong grinned. It seemed that it was not bad. Uncle Wong's shout drew the attention of the other villagers to Lin Yi, who was next to Gooden. It really is Lily. Yeah, Lily, you came back by yourself this time? Your 3 pretty girlfriends didn't come back with you? 3? Linny paused. Didn't he come back with Ming Yao and Yushu last time? Let's eat first. Old Lin looked at Lin Yi's back and nodded in satisfaction. After eating, Lin Yi went back to his room to study today's loot. Lin Yi wasn't in the mood to study the 3 sky-class weapons. They looked precious, but Lin Yi didn't have any arts to use with them. Chapter 30:13. Lin Yi was interested in the contents of the small box, as well as the bamboo scroll that the strange man gave him. Lin Yi first opened the small box that he took out from the Xinyuan cave mansion. Although this was the 3rd time that Lin Yi had opened this kind of small wooden box, he was still excited. This was because every time a small box was opened, it meant that Lin Yi's strength would increase, and he would obtain more powerful abilities. The wooden box was opened, but there were no magical weapons inside. Although Lin Yi had already guessed that such a small box could not contain any magical weapons, Lin Yi was still quite disappointed. After all, the words of the 3rd stone door made Lin Yi fantasize that he could obtain a heaven-level magical weapon. Just like the last time, there were 4 neatly folded silk scrolls in the wooden box, which gave Lin Yi a familiar feeling. In the 2nd wooden box that Lin Yi had obtained before, there were also 3 silk scrolls like this. He just didn't know if there was anything else other than the cultivation method of the 3rd level of the Art of Dragon Mastery this time. Without hesitation, Lin Yi reached out and picked up the first silk scroll and carefully opened it. The Art of Dragon Mastery. The 5 words written in seal script leaped into Lin Yi's eyes. Lin Yi had seen the same words twice, on the 1st and 2nd level of the Art of Dragon Mastery. Sure enough, there was the mnemonic chant for the 3rd level of the Art of Dragon Mastery. As Lin Yi expected, there was a line of small words under the title of the mantra. It said, 3rd level, Butterfly Transformation. Similar to the mnemonic chant for the 2nd level of the Art of Dragon Mastery, there was also a line of annotations that exceeded the size of the title. The 1st level of the Art of Dragon Mastery is like the silk of a heavenly silkworm, progressing step by step. The 2nd level is like the white crane spreading its wings and soaring high, transforming the physique. The 3rd stage was like a butterfly breaking out of its cocoon, its strength undergoing a qualitative change. If you want to cultivate the 3rd level, you must first strengthen your meridians. You can complete the first step by opening the 3rd stone door. The second step is to gather all the herbs and swallow them to complete the strengthening of your meridians. Remember, do not cultivate before the meridian reinforcement is completed. These 2 lines of annotations reminded Lin Yi of the second level of body tempering. Back then, Lin Yi couldn't wait to temper his body. As a result, he tampered with the herbs in the body tempering formula, causing Lin Yi to go berserk and almost die. But this time, Lin Yi had learned his lesson and decided to use the method of the small box to strengthen his meridians. He would not tamper with any of the herbs. If Lin Yi's guess was right, one of the remaining 3 silk scrolls would be the so-called meridian reinforcement method. As for what the remaining 2 were, Lin Yi didn't know for the time being. But this was also the only thing that Lin Yi was glad about. This time, there was 1 more silk scroll compared to the previous time. That was equivalent to having 1 more benefit. Lin Yi put down the 3rd level mantra in his hand and took out the 2nd silk scroll from the small box. He opened it carefully and read it. The 4 big words, Meridian Reinforcement Formula, were reflected in Lin Yi's eyes. Sure enough, this was also a formula. It was similar to the body tempering formula previously, but the herbs in it were completely different. Under the Meridian Reinforcement Formula, there were 4 big words. On it was written, Heaven-Level Magic Weapon Forging Technique. After seeing these words, Lin Yi suddenly became very excited. He did not care about studying the Meridian Reinforcement Formula first. Instead, he focused all his attention on the Heaven-Level Magic Weapon Forging Technique. Isn't this the Heaven-Level Magic Weapon that I've always wanted for myself? It turned out that the Xinyuan Cave Mansion did not provide Heaven-Level Magic Weapons. Instead, it let Lin Yi forge it himself. Thinking of this, Lin Yi quickly continued to read. Under the words, Heaven-Level Magic Weapon Forging Technique, there was a small line of words. The Art of Forging Technique is Intermediate Chapter. Jade Pendant Condensation is Elementary Chapter. Only by mastering the condensation of the Jade Pendant space can one attempt to forge a heaven-level magic weapon. Seeing this, Lin Yi could not help but swear. F***CK. What a scam. I can't even condense the Jade Pendant space now. How can I forge a magic weapon? Even I can't skillfully use and control the forging fire, right? Zhao Lao, why do I feel like I can't keep up? Lin Yi asked, a little depressed. I've already opened the 3rd stone door, and I haven't even finished refining the Jade Pendant space. Isn't this too slow? It's not slow, Zhao Yazi said. Who told you to reach the 2nd stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery so quickly? With Xinyan's help and the 5 inheritances helping you, your 2nd stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery has reached perfection in advance. That's why you haven't mastered the forging fire yet. Once you've mastered the 2nd stage, you'll be able to start. You can even master a grand perfection? Lin Yi asked, stunned. Perfection only means that your heart has reached perfection. But even if your heart has reached this level, you can't fully unleash the power of this level. That's what I mean. Zhao Yazi explained. For example, if a practitioner's strength reached sky-class late phase peak, but they did it in an instant, although their strength has stabilized, you can't grasp this strength and use it to its fullest. Do you understand what I mean? I understand. You're saying that I leveled up too quickly, so I haven't mastered it yet. Lin Yi nodded, understanding Zhao Yazi's meaning. This made Lin Yi feel a lot more at ease. He continued reading. Compared to the meridian strengthening formula, Lin Yi was more interested in forging his own magic weapons. But when Lin Yi read on, a helpless and pained expression appeared on his face. After all, there were a lot of rare materials that Lin Yi had never heard of before. Fine steel, dark steel, colored steel, charcoal stone, pure yellow jade, blue crystal powder, blood of the pentadragon. There were many more materials than the jade. Other than the colored steel, pure yellow jade, and blue crystal powder, Lin Yi hadn't seen the others before. And when he saw the last material, Lin Yi almost spat out blood. The blood of the pentadragon? He might as well kill Lin Yi. Where was he going to get the blood of the pentadragon? The dragon of 5 evils was very powerful, throwing Lin Yi into the valley with one swipe of its claw. Unless the thing inside the jade came out and asked for it personally, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to get it. Asking Lin Yi to ask for it from the Dragon of Five Evils was equivalent to asking for death. Chapter 3014. Begging for monthly tickets. Thank you for your support. Fine steel, dark steel? Lin Yi didn't have it, but Lin Yi had a dark steel rod. Could it be melted down and reused? If it was possible, it would solve a big problem. But other things wouldn't be so easy to find. Pure topaz, blue crystal powder, and colored steel were hard enough to find. The rest of the things would be even harder to find. Thinking of this, Lin Yi was a little discouraged. Jiao, isn't this a scam? Where can I find these materials? I don't know about this. You have to find a way yourself. Zhao Yazi also didn't know the source of these materials, but he said, anyway, it's not very urgent. You can condense the jade pendant first, and then look for it slowly. Sometimes, you may encounter a chance coincidence. Chance coincidence? Lin Yi was slightly stunned, and then he smiled bitterly. It seems that this is the only way. I'd better condense the space of the jade pendant first. After that, Lin Yi put down the second silk file and reached out to pick up the third silk file. What would this file be? Lin Yi was looking forward to it, but he was also a little nervous, because Lin Yi couldn't guess what was in the third silk file. Last time, Lin Yi was looking forward to a martial arts technique. The martial arts technique's mental cultivation method was in his hands. What Lin Yi was looking forward to now was, it should be a method of using a heaven stage wizard weapon, right? When Lin Yi opened the silk file, a look of understanding flashed across Lin Yi's face. Sure enough, this was the mental cultivation method of using a heaven stage wizard weapon. It was the method of using the wizard weapon that he had forged before. However, before Lin Yi forged a wizard weapon, this mental cultivation method was useless. Lin Yi didn't even look at it carefully, and he closed it and put it back. After all, it was useless for Lin Yi to read it now. Lin Yi now remembered Zhao Yazi's words. Haste makes waste. It was useless to know the mental cultivation method in advance. He didn't even have a weapon, so how to use it was not important. It was better to take it step by step. It was better to spend the limited time on condensing the forging fire. This sky-class weapons practitioner's arts weren't too out of Lin Yi's expectations, but the last silk scroll, Lin Yi couldn't figure out what was in it, no matter how hard he thought about it. However, the more unknown it was, the more he looked forward to it. This made Lin Yi a little nervous all of a sudden. After taking a deep breath, Lin Yi opened the last silk file. However, when Lin Yi saw the 4 big words, mental cultivation method, on the file, he was a little surprised. Mental cultivation method? What's this? Isn't the art of dragon mastery my mental cultivation method? Where did this mental cultivation method come from? With a very puzzled mood, Lin Yi calmed down and began to read the content of the mental cultivation method carefully. What kind of mental cultivation method is this? Just these 4 words, and the main body was below. There weren't any subtitles to explain the mental cultivation method. Moreover, this wasn't the end. What made Lin Yi even more puzzled was that the opening paragraph of this mental cultivation method was actually exactly the same as the opening paragraph of the Art of Dragon Mastery's first-level mental cultivation method. Could it be the same thing? Lin Yi was slightly stunned. He thought to himself that the person who placed it back then pretended to be a box, because the content of this mental cultivation method was exactly the same as the first level of the Art of Dragon Mastery. However, when Lin Yi continued reading, he realized something was wrong. Because even though the opening paragraph of this mental cultivation method was the same as the opening paragraph of the Art of Dragon Mastery, the content at the back was completely different. Except, even though it was different, Lin Yi had a familiar feeling. This seemed to be the modified version of the Art of Dragon Mastery, because the circulation pattern of this mental cultivation method seemed to be exactly the same as the Art of Dragon Mastery that Lin Yi cultivated. However, even though it was extremely similar, when Lin Yi studied it carefully, he realized that this was completely different. This mental cultivation method seemed to be some kind of supplementary mental cultivation method, and not an independent mental cultivation method. The more he read, the more puzzled Lin Yi became. Because in the middle of this mental cultivation method, there were some empty spaces. And in the empty spaces, there was a paragraph of annotation. On it was written, "Switching mental cultivation method." Lin Yi didn't know what this switching mental cultivation method meant. As he continued reading, it was another supplementary mental cultivation method. However, there were still empty spaces interspersed at the back. The annotation was still switching mental cultivation method, and so on and so forth. Zhao Lao, what kind of mental cultivation method is this? Why is there an empty space in the middle? Switching mental cultivation method here. What kind of mental cultivation method do I want to switch? Linny finally couldn't help but ask curiously. Oh, this mental cultivation method. I remember now. This is the same as the previous martial arts technique. They are both supplementary. Zhao Yazi recovered his memory, and he didn't seem to be clueless. Supplementary mental cultivation method? I can see this, but what does it mean by the same as the previous martial arts technique? Linny was puzzled. That martial arts technique is an all-purpose martial arts technique. Chapter 30:15. I got it. Linny nodded. Then are there any drawbacks or limitations to this all-purpose mantra? You'll find out if you keep reading. This mantra can only be practiced after the art of dragon mastery has reached the 3rd level. Otherwise, even if you practice it, you won't be able to simulate it. Zhao Yazi said. The 3rd level? Lin Yi's heart was filled with excitement. The first thing he thought of was the joint attack mantra he got from the hidden Zhuang house. If this all-purpose mantra was effective and could simulate the joint attack mantra, then Lin Yi could work with Han Jingjing, Guan Xian, and even Boss Bai to concoct pills. Concocting all kinds of 3rd-level pills wouldn't be a dream. When everyone's strength reached sky class, they might even be able to concoct 4th-level pills. However, the prerequisite was that the 3rd level of the art of dragon mastery was perfected. This seemed easy. It didn't take long for the 2nd level to be perfected, but that was due to luck. The 3rd level might not be so lucky. Thinking of this, Lin Yi took a deep breath. This gave him more motivation to practice. If he could use this mantra, then Lin Yi and the people around Lin Yi would have a qualitative leap in strength. It could be said that reaching the peak of sky class was no longer a dream. Although Lin Yi wasn't good at concocting pills, Han Jingjing, Guan Xian, and Boss Bai were. Lin Yi only needed to provide support for the 3 of them, allowing their strengths to fuse together for concocting pills. However, after the excitement, Lin Yi calmed down. After all, the 3rd level of the art of dragon mastery couldn't be reached in a day, so Lin Yi decided not to think about it for now. Instead, he decided to practice the 3rd level of the art of dragon mastery and condense the forging fire. Although the items were already in his hands, Linny still planned to stay at home for a while. After all, Linny wanted to spend some time with him. So in the following days, Linny lived a simple life in the village. Other than training, Lin Yi and Er Gooden went hunting in the West Star Mountain every day, satisfying old Lin's appetite. Of course, with old Lin's strength, he was more than capable of hunting in the mountains. But the problem was that Lin Yi wasn't home, so old Lin rarely used the fire. As for the bamboo scroll that the strange man gave him, Lin Yi didn't open it. This was given to Lier by the strange man. Although in the eyes of the strange man, Lin Yi was Lier, Lin Yi wasn't the kind of person who would steal other people's things. Lin Yi decided to let Faubert take a look at it after he returned. If Faubert agreed to let him see it, then he could read the contents openly. Of course, Lin Yi also understood that this was just a formality. With the relationship between Faubert's family and Lin Yi, even without the incident with Sun Jingyi, Faubert would not hesitate to let him see it because of his family. He even taught him the frenzy fire fist. What was there to hide? But this was out of respect for Faubert. After Lin Yi returned, he put away the bamboo scroll and never touched it again. Heavenly Elixir Sect, Ancestor Schwanchen's room. Little One rushed over from the 5-Element Sect because something big happened in the 5-Element Sect. Ancestor Xianchen was discussing Lin Yi's matter with Kong Ming Ming. These days, Kong Ming Ming was extremely depressed, but he didn't dare to say it out. He could only endure it. The reason was that the Silkworm transformation wanted to betroth Little Peach to Kong Ming Ming. Little Peach was very happy, but Kong Ming Ming was not. If Little Peach married him, she would lose her position as a maid to serve the silkworm transformation. Kong Ming Ming originally pursued Little Peach because she was the favorite of the silkworm transformation. But now that she lost her position as a maid, what was the use? Little Peach looked like an ordinary woman. How could Kong Ming Ming like her? He used to play with beauties like Xiao Fawn, and he still wanted to touch Guan Xian. It could be seen that Kong Ming Ming's standards were still very high. To put it bluntly, he was only using Little Peach. However, Ancestor Xianqian happily told this matter to Kong Ming Ming. Kong Ming Ming couldn't say much. After all, the silkworm transformation had already made a decision, and Ancestor Xianqian didn't know the truth. If he told the truth, not only would Ancestor Xianqian be unhappy, the silkworm transformation would also be unhappy, and Little Peach would be even more unhappy. If Little Peach didn't marry and continued to stay by the silkworm transformation side and said a few bad things about him, Kong Ming Ming, even if he was the disciple of Ancestor Xianqian, facing the silkworm transformation's anger would be enough to make him suffer. Therefore, the current situation was that he had to take Little Peach whether he wanted it or not. He had to marry her. Therefore, Kong Ming Ming could only pretend to be happy and said, "Thank you, Master, for caring about this disciple's private life. Well, you are my disciple. I heard that you like Little Peach, so I can't ignore you. While you are giving the human cauldron to young sect leader Tian, I want Little Peach back for you. This is actually an opportunity that you found yourself. If it wasn't for this human cauldron, Little Peach would have to serve young sect leader Tian for a period of time. Then you would have to wait." Ancestor Xianqian said, "Yes, it seems that this disciple has done a good deed." Kong Ming Ming nodded and said, but in his heart, he was very sad. He wanted to slap himself twice. This human cauldron thing was really *ket up. He thought it was a good thing, but now it seemed that he was digging his own grave. Not only was Ancestor Xianqian not very happy, but he was also unhappy now. "By the way, Master, that Linny has returned to normal. Are we still going to refine the extreme qi gathering pill?" Kong Ming Ming suddenly thought of a very important question and asked quickly, "Well, that's about to be refined." Ancestor Xianqian nodded and said, "But there is no hurry for the time being. You should first refine a marrow and bone cleansing pill for the everyday and everyday sect. After all, they are also considered to be our cooperating sect." "Yes, Master." Although Kong Ming Ming wanted to refine the extreme qi gathering pill for Lin Yi first and then eat Lin Yi to death, he could only listen to Ancestor Xuanqian's instructions when he was asked to refine the marrow and bone cleansing pill. While the two of them were talking, there was a rapid knock on the door of Ancestor Xuanqian's room. Ancestor Xianqian frowned and asked, "Who is it? What is it?" "Master, it's me, Little Yi." Little Yi's voice came from outside. Chapter 30:16. Master, bad news. Something big has happened. Little Yi said anxiously as soon as he entered the door. He did not look like his usual calm self at all. Instead, he looked more like a young boy. Of course, Little Yi's appearance was actually quite young, but his actual age was not that young anymore. But even so, Little One's age was still relatively young among the disciples of the Xianqian ancestor. At the very least, Little 6 and Little 7 were older than him. Of course, a heaven rank expert at Kong Xiaoming's age was considered a rather heaven-defying existence. There was nothing that could be copied. The heaven stage experts of the Five Elements sect were all genuine heaven stage experts. They had not taken the qi gathering pill to increase their strength. After all, these people hoped to break through to the way of heaven. Once they took the qi gathering pill, they would not be able to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth from the outside world. How could they break through to the way of heaven? Even if they ate the qi gathering pill and became a great perfection expert with the strength of the late stage of the heaven stage, they would not be fated with the way of heaven. Who would do such a stupid thing? Little E, what happened? Why are you in such a hurry? Ancestor Xianqian frowned. He could not think of what could have happened to the Five Elements sect to make Little E so anxious. Master, 6th brother, 7th brother, and 12th brother should have already. Already? As he spoke up to hear, Little One instantly felt a little sad. They were all fellow disciples who had been with him for decades, and they were gone just like that. How could he not feel sad? Already what? What happened to them? Ancestor Schwanchen's heart skipped a beat. He had a bad feeling. Old 6, Old 7, and Old 12 are probably no longer in this world. Little One said sadly, "Their soul jade tablets are all broken." What? Ancestor Xianxian suddenly stood up and looked at Little E in disbelief. What's going on? What the hell is going on? Tell me clearly, aren't 6th, 7th, and 12th cultivating in the sect? How did they die so inexplicably? Master, this is all Little Yi's fault. I should not have let them chase after that crazy old man from the Fiery Lion sect. Little E knelt on the ground and said with self-blame, "The crazy old man from the Fiery Lion sect? That crazy old man? He came to the Five-Element sect again?" Patriarch Xianxian raised his eyebrows and asked, "Yes, he sneaked into the Five-Element sect and stole the mantra to use the spirit weapon of the 11th. He has visited our Five-Element sect more than once before, but he always slipped away. This time, he happened to run into the 6th, 7th, and 12th brothers who were heading to the Sutras Pavilion, so they started fighting." If you want to say that Lin E, a wandering cultivator who has just advanced to the heaven stage, can kill Little 6, Little 7, and Little 12, that's completely unrealistic. Moreover, Lin E and that old lunatic actually don't have much of a relationship. That person is a lunatic. What relationship can he have with Lin E? Yes, how can the experts of our Five-Element sect be ordinary experts? They can all fight above their level. It's already not bad for Lin E to be able to beat Old 12. Little One also said disapprovingly, "If Lin E has such ability, then we might as well commit suicide." After cultivating for so many years and reaching the peak of the late stage of Heaven stage, his strength is still not as good as a wandering cultivator who has just advanced to the early stage of Heaven stage. Oh, Kong Ming Ming just mentioned it casually, but it had to be said that his broken mouth often hit the mark by a fluke. It was like this when he was in the Kong family, and it was still the same when he was in the Heavenly Elixir sect. However, there were not many people who believed him. Okay, let's not study this anymore. Are there any clues? Patriarch Black Earth asked. No, I don't know where they are now, so there's no way to start looking for clues. Little One shook his head helplessly. Old 6 and Old 12 only began to leave marks after Old 7 was injured in order to make Old 7 chase after them. However, the marks were already very far away from the Five-Element sect, so the people of the Five-Element sect couldn't find the place where they fell at all. Chapter 30:17. Summoning Monthly Tickets. The number of monthly tickets has not changed in the past few days. Yes, this is also the reason why I am helpless. If I can find that old thing, I will personally kill him. Little Lee said hatefully. Let's put this matter aside for now. Since you are here, I have something to ask you to do. Patriarch Xianxian waved his hand and said, "Go and investigate the secular Sun family. See who in the Sun family knows how to use the healing mantra and has not healed others." Oh, what do you mean? Little E was stunned. He did not understand what Patriarch Xianxian meant. After all, he usually did not pay attention to the secular world and basically did not know about the secular Sun family. Kong Ming Ming, tell Little E about the secular Sun family. Patriarch Xianxian instructed Kong Ming Ming. Yes, master. Kong Ming Ming nodded, then turned to look at Little E and said, Eldest senior brother, the secular Sun family is like this. As he spoke, Kong Xiaoming told Little One about the Sun family in the secular world, as well as the treatment of Tagan Dragon. Oh, in that case, there is hope for Tagan Dragon to recover? Little E was stunned and was pleasantly surprised. This was the only thing worth being happy about after the deaths of Old 6, Old 7, and Old 12. It's possible. Kong Ming Ming nodded and said, but I don't know much about the secular Sun family. You also know that our Kong family was not even an ordinary family in the past. We can't come into contact with these secrets. In fact, to put it bluntly, Kong Ming Ming's family was too low-end, and the Five-Element sect was too high-end, so they did not know about the secular Sun family. Okay, then I will start investigating. Little One hurriedly nodded and agreed. Master, about old 6, old 7, and old 12, don't worry about that for now. If there's really an existence that can kill them, then its whereabouts won't be something you can easily investigate. Patriarch Xinshin muttered in his heart. Who did this? However, on the surface, he was very calm, as if this matter was not worth mentioning. He waved his hand and said, I will investigate this matter myself. Yes, master. This disciple will go back now. Little One hurriedly responded, cupped his fists, and left. After Little One left, the Black Earth Patriarch sighed. He suddenly realized that not everything was under his control. For example, he was still powerless against the unknown changes that had occurred today. In East Ocean City, a dusty Land Rover suddenly stopped in front of Lin Yi's mansion, and a handsome young man got out of the car. However, this young man was a bit coquettish. He was wearing bright red clothes, and if he were in a public place, he would be the center of attention. However, in this villa area, basically no one passed by, so his dressing didn't attract anyone's attention. The young man got out of the car, held a map in his hand, and carefully compared it for a long time. After confirming that the address was correct, he rang the doorbell. Today was the weekend, and Lin Yi wasn't at home, so Meng Yao and Yushu didn't go out either. Instead, they quietly waited at home for Lin Yi to come back. At this time, someone rang the doorbell, which surprised the two. Shu, go see who's here first. I'll take out the clothes from the washing machine and hang them up. Meng Yao was washing clothes, so she said to Yushu, who was watering the flowers. Okay. Yushu walked out of the villa with a kettle. When she came to the villa's courtyard, she saw a young man in fiery red standing outside. She asked curiously, Who are you? Who are you looking for? Yushu didn't know the person in front of her. She was sure that Lin Yi didn't have such a friend. Hello, you're young hero Lin's bro Lin's family, right? The fiery young man cupped his fists respectfully. I'm from the southern suburbs Flaming Mountain sect, the young master of Flaming Mountain, Hua Xianyun. I have something to discuss with young hero Lin, bro Lin. Flaming Mountain? Hua Xianyun? I don't know him. Yushu's face changed slightly as she waved her hand subconsciously, gesturing for Hua Xianyun to leave. What kind of nonsense are you talking about? Aurora Borealis. Pretty lady, it's normal that you don't know me, but you get used to it. This is young hero Lin's bro Lin's house, right? Hua Xianyun asked awkwardly. I don't know. I don't know you. There's no young hero Lin here, and there's no bro Lin. Just leave. With that, Yushu turned around to go back into the house, ignoring him. Don't. Open the door first. We can talk things out. This is definitely young hero Lin's villa. The property management company has confirmed it. Hua Shou looked at the markings on the map, then looked at the house number. He called out curiously, Beauty, please wait. Meng Yao had just finished hanging the clothes and was walking out of the villa when she saw Yushu walking back with Hua Xianyun yelling non-stop. Shu, who's this guy? Is he here for Lin Yi? I don't know. I don't know him. He's a psycho. Yushu's expression was a little unnatural, and she looked unusually agitated. She turned around abruptly and poured the water on Hua Xianyun. Why aren't you leaving? I'll call the cops and sue you for harassment. Hua Xianyun didn't expect Yushu to pour water on him like that, and he wasn't prepared for it. He was drenched in the water, and he looked a little embarrassed. But he was here for an alliance with Lin Yi, and he didn't dare get angry. Who knew who this big-breasted girl was to Lin Yi? What if she was Lin Yi's wife? Offending her was the same as offending Lin Yi, and so, Hua Xianyun could only put on a smile and speak carefully. I'm really here for someone. Can't we talk nicely? I'm not a bad guy. Shu, what's going on? Meng Yao frowned. She didn't understand what Shu was doing, messing with a guest like this. Don't mind him, Yao Yao, he's in the wrong place, Yushu said as she pulled Meng Yao into the villa. Wait, this is Lin Bro's villa, isn't it? I'm here to visit him. Hua Xianyun yelled. You're here for Lin Yi? Meng Yao turned around and looked at Hua Xianyun, confused by Shu's actions. Shu, he's here for Lin Yi, right? Yao Yao, this guy doesn't look like a good guy, Yushu said. Chapter 3018. Mingyao was probably Lin Yi's concubine now that Yushu was calling Mingyao sis. He didn't dare offend her, and could only ask meekly, "Who are you? Why are you here to see Lin Yi?" Mingyao blushed, but didn't refute. She didn't even know this guy, so there was no need to explain so much to him. Yushu, on the other hand, froze when she heard the way Mingyao addressed her. She realized that she'd misunderstood something. Mingyao was here for Lin Yi, not for her. Yushu subconsciously thought that Mingyao was here for her, and even said that they'd get to know each other better. That was why Yushu reacted so strongly. Now that she heard Mingyao call her sister-in-law, she was very happy. "Oh, at least you know your place. I'm Shield Bro's concubine." Shield Bro? Mingyao paused. He didn't know who Yushu was talking about, but he channeled his practitioner's arts and evaporated the water on his body. He was a fire practitioner, so it was easy for him to do that. "You're a practitioner?" Mingyao was surprised, but she turned to Shu. "Why did you say that Lin Yi wasn't here?" Oh, that's because he's looking for Lin Yi or Lin Bro. There's only Lin Yi Shield Bro here, no Lin Yi or Lin Bro. That's why Shu chased him away." Yushu explained. Mingyao clearly felt that Yushu was talking nonsense, but she couldn't ask in front of outsiders. She explained to Mingyao. "Shu just calls Lin Yi Shield Bro. There might be a misunderstanding. I'm Mingyao, the young master of the southern suburbs Flaming Mountain sect. I'm here to visit Brother Lin. Could you two please introduce me to him?" Even though Flaming Cloud was puzzled by Shu's reaction, he finally understood what was going on and quickly explained. "Fiery Mountain's Fiery Cloud?" Mingyao nodded. She'd never heard of this sect before, but it was clear that this guy wasn't hostile. If he was, he wouldn't be talking to her so nicely if Yushu had splashed water all over him. "Lin Yi's out on some business. He's not back yet. Is there something you need from him? It's like this. Our Fiery Mountain sect has a deep grudge with Zhang Naipeo of the Everyday and Everyday sect. Have you guys heard of him?" Hua Hongyun asked. "Zhang Naipeo?" Mingyao blinked. "He's a classmate of mine, Shu, and Lin Yi. You're all classmates." Hua Shou was momentarily stunned, his expression changing slightly. "Could it be that you're also disciples of the Everyday and Everyday sect?" "How could we be disciples of the Everyday and Everyday sect?" Mingyao paused as well, not understanding what was going on. "So you're saying that Naipeo is your classmate?" Hua Hongyun didn't think it was possible. If Lin Yi and Naipeo were from the same sect, then he wouldn't have done anything to Naipeo. He came from an ancient sect, so he wasn't too clear on the concept of classmates. He thought that they were from the same sect, but now that he thought about it, he understood. "Could it be that you and Naipeo are classmates from the common world?" "Yeah, we're high school classmates." Mingyao nodded. "High school?" Hua Hongyun paused once more. He didn't know about Naipeo's discipleship, and with how strong Naipeo was, he thought that Naipeo was a core disciple of the Everyday and Everyday sect since he was young. But Mingyao said that they were high school classmates, and Mingyao didn't seem that old. Didn't that mean that Naipeo had only been in the Everyday and Everyday sect for a while? He quickly asked. "Then may I ask, what year are you guys in?" "First year of university. Why?" Mingyao felt that Hua Hongyun's question was a little strange. "Then, so you're saying that Naipeo has been in the Everyday and Everyday sect for 3 years at most?" Hua Hongyun was in disbelief. Naipeo had gotten this strong in such a short time. Was it because the Everyday and Everyday sect was too strong? Or was Naipeo's talent too overpowered? "Less than a year." Mingyao shook her head. "His strength is indeed quite fast, even a little faster than Lin Yi. At first, Lin Yi was a golden class, and Naipeo was just a normal person. But now, both of them are sky class early phase." Cough, cough, cough. Mengyao's words made Hua Hongyun cough nonstop. He could admit that Naipeo was fast. After all, the Everyday and Everyday sect was one of the strongest sects in the ancient times. But Lin Yi was a freelancer, and yet he'd gone from golden class to sky class in less than a year. What kind of concept was that? One had to know that it was extremely difficult for a freelancer to break through, especially when Lin Yi was still so young. This was something that Hua Hongyun couldn't imagine. How was this Naipeo faster than Lin Yi? It was Lin Yi who knew how many times faster than Naipeo. How could a freelancer and a sect disciple be compared? And Hua Hongyun suddenly realized that Lin Yi was still an Earth class late phase before, wasn't he? He'd been able to beat Naipeo in the test as an Earth class late phase, but how long had it been? And now Lin Yi had stepped into Sky class early phase? Didn't that make him even stronger? As far as Hua Hongyun was concerned, Lin Yi's Sky class early phase was a lot stronger than Naipeo's. If Naipeo was still Sky class early phase, then Lin Yi would be able to beat him. What's wrong? Meng Yao looked at Hua Hongyun, surprised. Actually, Meng Yao had pointed out Lin Yi's strength because she didn't trust him. She brought out Lin Yi's strength so that Hua Hongyun wouldn't dare act recklessly if he really had ulterior motives. It's nothing. Brother Lin is strong indeed. May I ask when he'll be back? Hua Hongyun asked. That's hard to say. If you want to find him, you can come here often, Meng Yao said. Then, can I stay here and wait for Brother Lin to come back? Hua Hongyun asked. His way of thinking was that of the Jianghu. As far as he was concerned, visiting someone and staying in someone else's house was very normal. After all, many ancient sects were deep in the mountains and forests, and there were very few who had inns. Most of them stayed in other sects' houses. That's not really convenient. We're not that familiar with each other anyway. Meng Yao rejected his request. Chapter 3019. Oh, Chuntian, this is the young master of Flaming Mountain, Hua Shouyun. Have you heard of him? Meng Yao introduced. He's here to visit Lin Yi. Oh, Hua Shouyun? Chuntian paused, but he still extended his hand. Hello, I'm Lin Yi's follower, Wu Chuntian of the Common House Wu, an Earth-class late phase peak. What? Common House Wu? Earth-class late phase peak? Hua Shouyun jumped. A common house had an Earth-class late phase peak? What was going on? Had he stayed in the ancient sects for too long that he didn't know what was going on outside? How could a common house be as strong as a hidden house? And he was just a junior, an Earth-class late phase peak. Compared to the ancient sects, this wasn't too far off, was it? Chentian was afraid that Hua Shouyun was up to no good, so he pointed out his strength first. Seeing the surprised look on Hua Shouyun's face, he continued, That's right. Our boss has a lot of followers, like the Hidden House Shuang, House Han, and House Pai. They're all Earth-class late phase peak. Chuntian being an Earth-class late phase peak wasn't a big deal, but Hua Shouyun was surprised that all of Lin Yi's followers were Earth-class late phase peak. Was this a coincidence, or something else? But as far as Hua Shouyun knew, even Hidden House disciples couldn't have a large number of Earth-class late phase peak, right? Could it be that their strength had something to do with Lin Yi? Otherwise, why would they all be stuck at Earth-class late phase peak? Not more, not less? With that thought, Hua Shouyun felt that visiting Lin Yi was the right decision. Lin Yi was much stronger than he thought. All right, since Brother Lin isn't here, I'll set up camp nearby and wait for him to come back, Hua Shouyun said. I have a tent in the car. I've been staying in the tent all this time, so I'm used to it. You want to stay at the entrance? Meng Yao felt that it wasn't polite to let a guest stay at the door. She wanted to let Firecloud go back first, but he was determined to wait here. Meng Yao hesitated and said to Shu, Why don't we let him come in and stay with Wu Chintian? No. Yushu yelped in response, but realized that she was overreacting. She quickly explained, I can't sleep at night if someone I'm not familiar with moves in. Although Yushu was temporarily sure that Firecloud wasn't here to cause trouble for her, she was still afraid that Firecloud would find out as time went on. She didn't want to have anything to do with Firecloud, and she naturally rejected him. Meng Yao frowned as she looked at Shu's determined face, but she couldn't bring it up anymore. After all, Shu was part of the villa, and she couldn't ignore Shu's opinion. But Meng Yao knew that it wasn't because Yushu couldn't sleep. A few days ago, Old Pai, Old Han, and a bunch of other people stayed in the villa, and Yushu didn't seem to be out of place. It's fine. I'm quite used to living here. Firecloud was troubled. He didn't seem to have offended Yushu at all, did he? Why did it seem like she didn't like him? You can't stay here, either. Go back and wait. Maybe you can leave your contact number, and I'll get Shield Bro to contact you when he comes back. Yushu didn't want to see Firecloud every day. She wouldn't be in a good mood if she saw him. Yushu didn't have a good impression of Flaming Mountain at all. If it weren't for this sect, her parents wouldn't have been captured, and they wouldn't have been threatened by Haosyu. Even if Hua Hanyun looked innocent, Yushu didn't like him. Firecloud was really helpless. He looked at Ming Yao and Chuntian. I don't have any bad intentions. I'm just here to visit Lin bro, Master Lin. Shu, no matter what, this is Lin Yi's guest. He's not staying at your house. Are you not letting him stay outside? Ming Yao felt that it was a little unreasonable. You had to have a reason to not let him stay outside, right? Wasn't this just unreasonable? Hua Mingyun was, after all, the young master of an ancient sect. At this time, he was really feeling wronged. He was here to visit Lin Yi, and he didn't stay at his house. Couldn't he stay at his door? Even a clay figurine would have a temper. Firecloud didn't have a fire? Of course, Firecloud didn't dare to have a fire. He could clearly feel that if he left, Yushu wouldn't tell him even if Lin Yi came back. He decided to act shamelessly. This doorstep is a public area, not your house. I'm staying here. What can you do? I'll stay here. With that, Firecloud drove the car to the public parking lot in the villa area and set up a tent in the grass, ignoring Yushu. Meng Yao shrugged helplessly. She didn't care about Firecloud, but Yushu was the problem. Why was she reacting so strongly? All right, Shu, let's go back. Don't worry about him. He's staying outside. He won't affect us. Meng Yao pulled Yushu. Man, all right. What if he takes Shu away? Yao Yao won't be able to see Shu anymore. Yushu mumbled. What nonsense are you talking about? Why would he take you away? He's here for Lin Yi, isn't he? Meng Yao was curious about Shu's behavior today. She waited until they entered the villa before asking, Shu, what's wrong with you today? Why do you look so weird? Does this person have something against you? I don't know. Anyway, Shu just doesn't like him. I don't want him here. Yushu said. Then we have to talk to Lin Yi, right? Why don't you give Lin Yi a call and tell him about this? Let's see what he says. Meng Yao didn't have a choice. If Shu didn't say anything, there was no point in asking. But she had to talk to the person involved, right? All right, I'll call Shield Bro. Yushu hesitated and nodded. With that, Yushu picked up the phone and walked upstairs. Meng Yao was confused. Shu, why do you have to go upstairs to make a call? Can't you just call downstairs? Don't you want to mess around? Oh, that. It's like this. I miss Shield Bro, and I want to talk to him. Wu Chintian is downstairs. I'm sorry. Yushu said, you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.